It's Mother's Day, so first, shout out to the moms, the icons behind the scenes of our real life origin stories. Now, let's jump into this week's multiverse madness because Marvel's making meditation videos, Deadpool might be crashing the X-Men timeline, DC's teasing double peacemakers, and Star Wars is dropping tales from the underworld. From blockbuster rumors to fan favorite returns, this is your full download on everything you need to know in the world of movies, shows, and gaming, right here on Fandomentals. Hey, how's it going?
Hello, it is wonderful. How are you?
So good. So if anybody doesn't know, this isn't our regular host. Tay is gone for the next couple of weeks, and we have Bleeding Rainbow Comics, LJ and Win with us. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So without further ado, y'all ready to kick it off with some Marvel?
We are ready.
Do this.
So right off the bat, Ryan Reynolds is cooking up a crossover you never knew you desperately needed. Deadpool meets the X-Men, bigger than we've ever seen before. So as he was talking in an interview lately, he's talking about, he's working on some kind of X-Men crossover. I think he's working on writing it to pitch it and see if it gets accepted. Seems like this Deadpool Wolverine might actually be the start of a trilogy. So what's y'all's take on this? Like, what do you think what would you like to see if this is the route that they tend to go?
Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
Okay. So I love this idea. Like, I want to see the X-Men and Deadpool together, of course. Who doesn't?
Right.
But like, can we introduce some X-Men first?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say this might actually be the way to get the X-Men, like the current X-Men, introduced. And I think that because Ryan Reynolds' whole thing is the publicity of everything, and he's very good at launching a movie.
Right.
And so if Kevin Feige is smart, then he might at least hear what he has to say, because think about having the same promo from X-Men or from Deadpool and Wolverine to help kind of usher in the new era of X-Men post Secret Wars. Now, we haven't seen Doomsday or Secret Wars, which we already know we're going to get some callback X-Men, and we'll see if any of them continue on or don't. I hope not. I'm ready for new stuff. But I think that would be a really good and really safe, economical choice to help to have Deadpool kind of usher that in, especially because he's a multiversal figure now. And I honestly, any excuse that I can have to have Cassandra Nova back, I will take, because that they would end up seeing her again. And so I think that's all I care about, honestly. For that whole movie, that's all I want to see again is Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, and she brought it. Emma brought it. Like, I absolutely love her character she brought to the screen. But like, I don't know. Also, like, part of something that's been like crossing my mind is like, all right, so we know Hugh Jackman's going to be probably heavily involved anytime there's a Deadpool project with Ryan Reynolds. But then we are kind of probably getting our setting up the mutant new mutant saga to take over after Secret Wars. So do you think that it would be maybe involved with introducing these new line of X-Men? Or do you think maybe this trilogy with Ryan Reynolds, obviously knowing Hugh Jackman's probably going to be that Wolverine, that it may be more of a multiversal thing that they do, and we actually don't have him integrated with the new X-Men? Because if we get this new line of X-Men, I really don't think they're going to make Hugh Jackman that Wolverine. I think we'll get a younger Wolverine. I think we're going to get a whole new, younger version of them.
Well, we almost have to, because they're not going to get every X-Men actor from the original X-Men movies.
But also, if we don't let Hugh rest, he will die.
And
he may not make it to 90.
They're inevitably going to be younger than Hugh Jackman anyway. So that takes away Wolverine's like mutant power. Like, his claws aren't really his power. They were put in him.
Right.
Like, yes, he had bone claws. That was one of his mutations. But like, the healing factor is his main thing. So making him an old man, which essentially what they would be doing, we can't have that. So
I think the smart version, like, because we've already done the multiverse, we already know multiple versions of every person exists. I think the smart way would be, yes, have a little bit of bleed over, but I would use Deadpool to introduce the new X-Men. I think that's how it's going to be most well received by the audience, because I mean, people have trust issues with Marvel right now. I do not, because I am a fanboy and I will watch whatever and enjoy almost
quickly
everything.
Getting it back, though.
But a big thing in that was Deadpool and Wolverine, but it almost didn't feel like a true Marvel film because it was so closely associated with Ryan Reynolds. And so it was more, he is at the helm, we trust him. And so I think it would go a long way with audiences for him to kind of help usher it in, because audiences, for the most part, I mean, we'll see after all this Justin Baldoni crap, but for the most part, audience say, okay, Ryan Reynolds is in charge of this. It's a Deadpool movie. I'm going to hear him out. And I think that that's a lot more than the casual has for Marvel proper at this time.
And they could easily keep it. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine really had nothing to do with the MCU other than the TVA being in it.
Right.
So, I mean,
do want Laura back. I think that's I think that's the route we're going to go. I do think that we'll get another male Wolverine, but I do think that we'll see her
too.
If Feige learned anything from this last run, he won't do this. But what if the Deadpool and Wolverine X-Men stuff they're talking about, they'll just use Laura Kinney as the Wolverine for the MCU?
Yeah.
I would be fine with that,
and
but
that
I
would be
feel
the
like
tie-in.
Nobody else would be.
Oh,
I
know.
That.
Everybody would riot, but he's really been trying to usher in that new Marvel that didn't work out in the comic books. So why did it
for me?
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah. Well, also I think because also like with Professor Xavier and Magneto's, history and how they became in their childhood, like especially Magneto, I don't think they can they can't change that, right? And I don't think like even if you did a more modern time, you change Magneto's backstory, I think there would be backlash. I think.
I
don't think they would want to veer from that. So I almost think that they almost have to bring in the new realm of X-Men from another universe, another multiverse. Maybe it was, somehow a blend of their universe with ours now because of an incursion. So like we would almost have to keep that and place that into ours. But then I think we would still get two Wolverines. Then, you would have your Hugh Jackman show up every once in a while, maybe with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
But then we would get a new, younger Wolverine, whether that be, the Laura route or a younger male route, I think that's the only way to do this, to keep everybody happy and also to keep everybody's backstories where they need to be. There's a lot of things you can change, right? But then I think there's certain things that it's best you just don't change, like Magneto's. So So I think
honestly,
they would almost pull them.
I would love to see us keep our Professor X and Magneto from the original X-Men movies. I love them as Magneto.
Now, which version are you talking?
From like
the Elders?
Yes. Yes.
The Elders.
I mean, I think they can still do it. And I think it would be fun because they have the whole, is Wanda a mutant? Is she not in the MCU right now? And if they're keeping Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda, I think it'd be cool for the Secret Wars if they just had a scene of like, it is our Magneto from the X-Men and this is our MCU Wanda, but she just has a moment, she's like, Dad?
Yeah.
And he just wasn't a mutant in the MCU, but really it's still her dad.
Okay. Like Eric Lyncher that wasn't mutant from this universe.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was her dad growing up.
I think
that's how they could kind of easily.
I think at this point, those two actors are super iconic in the roles, but they are getting very old.
Yeah.
And so with this next phase, Feige has been very vocal of it's going to be the era of the X-Men post-Secret Wars.
Right.
I do not see that happening because you need longevity with the casting for it. I personally would be fine with having McAvoy and Fassbender back, especially because, I mean, Fassbender's suit and Wanda's actual superhero suit look inspired off of each other as it is.
They did.
It would be super weird to have Fassbender be Elizabeth Olsen's dad, but I mean, you could still use the multiverse angle of, wait, you're my Wanda all grown up. But also, it's so hard to speculate anything Marvel right now because we're going into Secret Wars. And so a ton of crap could happen in Secret Wars, and we could always get a jumble of all of these things that we're talking about. Right. So we could keep a couple of the younger actors from X-Men that still want to continue. We could also get some new younger ones introduced. And I kind of think that might be the best way to go. Introduce a few of them, at least in an Avengers movie that is going to get a lot of ticket sales. And then use those few into that next Deadpool movie to help usher in the rest.
Yeah, and me personally,
but that's my ramble.
No. Like me personally, I would like give us all the nostalgia, right, up till Secret Wars, because we know we're getting it, right? And so give us that, do whatever creative things you want to do with that to just like make our hearts so much more so full, so filled, but then also like when it does after Secret Wars, I would love it to be completely brand new casting. If I was to cross over this, and it's because I feel so strongly about them, just give us McAvoy and Fassbender back as Professor X and Magneto, but then give us all new younger X-Men cast. Because if you gave us like back to high school, but gave McAvoy and Fassbender the age they are to be those people, I think it would work. And this is just me being super biased to them. But obviously, more likely they'd probably recast them as well. But then, like, leave the ones who would take up the mantle that are from the OG ones to make appearances between some multiverse crossovers. For maybe they need help for a certain movie, or maybe there's whatever. Bring those for that, because I think, well, you have a lot of Marvel fans, right, who was born soon as the MCU started, and so they may not have like a lot of ties to the old. I know, right? It makes me feel old, but you have a lot of Marvel fans now that are, they don't know anything pre MCU. And one thing about X-Men, I think like the X-Men story, from the 90s when the animated series came out that we all, grew up on, and then also the early 2000s X-Men we grew up on, like, we related with some of the stories, we related with them. So I think that they're going to want to bring in a high school, roughly high school age new cast, because they're going to want those stories to connect to the younger audience, I believe. And so that's kind of what I would like to see. I think that would make the most sense for mine.
Agree.
But man, I hope they go all out up till now in Secret Wars with the nostalgic, like the OG ones that we grew up on. And I want to see McAvoy and Fassbender back on screen. I want to see them back on screen, because like as much as I love Stewart and McKellen, like obviously they started the cinema with us, but man, they play such good younger versions of them, such good actors. Not just in the X-Men, but in anything they're in. So like I hope we get some more screen time with them as some kind of Xavier or Magneto before Secret Wars. If not,
McAvoy is insane in his range. I mean, I will agree to quite a few points that you've made. I do not think you can change Magneto's backstory away from the Holocaust. Like, you just cannot. It's so ingrained in this character. But I personally, I don't know. I think I'm already a little over the nostalgia. And so for me, if we need to do a restart, I would much rather just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, I am totally fine with using Doomsday and Secret Wars as that kind of fan service, because honestly, that's kind of what the multiverse saga should have been from the beginning. And I feel like we haven't really, we're just now actually getting into it at the end. Yep. But I think if it had been more of that in the beginning, it would have been better received. And I think that's mostly what people were expecting.
I think you're right.
They just didn't get it. And so I don't know. I think after Secret Wars, I would like all fresh X-Men stories, all fresh X-Men actors, just to say, okay, this is our thing now. We're going to do our take on it. We're going to have agency over these characters, this casting, and it's going to be something that we can say is 100% ours. Because I think that that's also one thing that the MCU struggled with. I mean, up until now, is this is our take on these characters. We don't want to share. I mean, look at them trying to share Spider-Man. they already are sharing enough.
Fingers crossed one day they take over Sony or buy the rights back, whichever one. Buying out Sony may be easier for Disney and Marvel at this moment, but I hope that happens or something happens soon.
Something needs to happen.
And I see the marketing strategy and the reasoning why to start over again. I just hate it I know these characters. I love these characters. I want these characters, and I want to grow from that. Like, we just were introduced to Wiccan. Like, and if we get a reset and they make everybody slightly younger, he may or may not still be able to be a Wiccan.
What I think, I don't think we're going to get a full reset. I think we're going to reset the X-Men. We're not going to have the Fox X-Men. I don't think we're going to reset our current MCU at all.
I think we'll reset some of our MCU. I do. I think those, because he has all these toys to play with now, and I think that it's gonna get reset more than what we think it is. I personally think so, and I hate that and don't want that. Also, if you skew too young, we just got the Fantastic Four.
Right.
And they're around the age of Elizabeth Olsen and all the other cast members of the MCU. Like, they're in that age bracket.
Well, do you want to remind me in 3 years? But I don't know. I think your anxiety might be taken over about them. You just got all these toys and you're afraid somebody's going to take your toys away. But I will say, I think at least 95% of the current MCU will stay as is post Secret Wars. They might use it as an excuse to alter or shift a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff that really worked in this saga, I don't think that's going anywhere.
Like, I don't think it is
was one of the successful launches of the multiverse saga.
Right.
Plus, that was perfect casting. What else are you going to do?
Right. Well, also, and Brad Winderbaum a while back, I mean, I think it's been a few months back, someone kind of talked to him and was like, after Secret Wars, will it be kind of a soft reboot? And he's like, I want to say, I don't see us going that route at all. If a soft reboot, like, he's like, the storytelling is going to make sense. It's not going to be rebooting anything. He's like, because if you do even a soft reboot of anything, he's like, it's kind of taken away all of the work that we put into storytelling since 2008.
Yes.
So, like, after hearing him say that in an interview, I think we will get rid of some of the characters for good, but I don't think we'll do a soft reboot. I think they're going to find a way to perfectly blend and bring in these somehow into whether it be bringing them from another universe into ours, or our universe having to relocate and be part of a new universe. I don't know. I think we're going to get a blend of, like a lot of our recent characters that work and have been working for a few years. So. I think we're going to keep them. I really do.
I also think that I am very much in the camp of, I don't think we're going to recast any of the MCU proper.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will, however, because they are cutting back on production amounts. Right. I think we'll see the less popular characters kind of fade away. Yeah. And I just don't think we'll have them anymore.
Yeah.
Which that's going to hurt my feelings, because I feel like I always like the least popular characters.
I'm also just scarred from comics and the DC universe, because like comics never age up, and I always want them to. I want it to be linear. I want it to be in real time. And so I want to see what happens next in the MCU. I don't want any sort of reboot.
I think what you're going to see next is we're just going to focus on the X-Men and Fantastic Four for a bit.
And
which Fantastic Four, I'm all for. Let's focus there. Herbie needs his screen
time. And I'm super scarred from the DCU just rebooting every 3 years. So,
but not fully, because that's the problem that the new DCU already has, is we're doing a soft reboot. So casuals, they don't know, like, wait, is Peacemaker still, is that canon, or is it partially canon? What's happening? But no, I think that is one thing that Marvel can learn from DC right now, is people are already confused before any of this is out of what is in the universe and what is not.
Yeah.
So I think what the road that me and Blake are on is the safer route of not confusing your audience. We're just going to phase out the less popular stuff. Here's the MCU version of the stuff. Let's keep on trucking. Yeah. Like post these Avengers, I do not think we're going to get almost every single one of those chairs back, especially if it's like a Fox property or anything. And if they're not in the Avengers movies, I think it is very telling that we might not see them at least for a very long time.
Yeah, I think so, but only time will tell. So,
you mean Robert Downey Jr. is not just going to play every role?
That's a whole nother story. I'm not going to go off on that tangent about Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. That is a whole web series we do not have time for today.
Well, speaking of Avengers stuff, Lego just dropped the most insane Avengers Endgame set, and it's pure fan service, brick by brick. And I'm going to say, this is pretty epic. Check this out. I don't even collect Legos, but I've always loved Legos. That is sick. You got the spinning rings that they come out of. Like,
yeah,
God,
it's pretty sick.
I think it's kind of wild that they took so long to come out with
I do have a Lego setup of Marvel Legos.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, his whole work office is just Marvel Lego.
You have to have that one then.
I need the leaked Fantastic Four one with Galactus. That's the one that I need. Like, I could probably take or leave this Avengers. Like, it is cool.
Yeah.
But I need that Galactus.
That'd be sick.
My wallet says, please no, don't. It's fine. When have I ever listened to my wallet?
Yeah, I never got into collecting Legos because I have the fun building it, and then like I don't care about it afterwards.
Really? So I like Legos growing up, and like I still love Legos, like putting them together today. But like it's like the cost of them. I'd rather like spend my money on like getting the collectibles and the helmets. I'm a big helmet collector, and so like I just choose to put my funds in other collectible areas. It's kind of like almost, it's really a personal preference, I guess, for any fan. But but also helmets are easy to throw up, somewhere too.
I can't justify spending the money on something like that once because my fun is just the building part.
Right.
So I can't justify how expensive they are because I also collect Hot Toys, and I'm a completionist, and it bugs me when they don't even come out with a character I want. So I'm always buying like every Hot Toy.
And they teased the Thunderbolts, but they haven't actually announced anything yet. And I'm about to get very upset if they don't.
Now they just came out with a Yelena, right?
They teased one.
So I seen Brandon Davis this past few days ago. Brandon Davis unboxed one. He got.
Oh, that might have been the old Yelena.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Trust me, I got her. She's on the shelf with my Kate Bishop.
Gotcha.
But no, we're kind of in the all right. Are we going to keep collecting Hot Toys? Because one, they've really cut back on who they make lately. Like within the past year, they didn't make anything for Agatha, and I have not bought a Hot Toy since.
Yeah, I was hoping for a Wiccan so bad, and never.
That would be sick one to have.
But also, they're getting more expensive now because of tariffs and everything like that. I'm like, I'm already living above my means. Maybe
roughly how much does a Hot Toy cost per one?
Oh, it depends on the Hot Toy.
Really?
They're after shipping and tax, it's around 300 a figure. Woo. So a character. So
it depends. Some of them you can get a little bit less, but we are fortunate to have a toy store like 45 minutes away that has an ample selection of Hot Toys, and we can even pre-order through them, so we don't have to pay shipping or anything. And
they do a rebate. They do cash rebates for every figure you buy. So I guess you're getting about $20 back from that.
Yeah.
So I mean, for a collector, that's pretty.
They look so good though. But they look great.
They do.
I don't need friends. I have my toys.
Right. So I've always wanted to start collecting Hot Toys, and I've yet to buy my first one.
Addicting.
That's what I'm afraid of, because like I will not worry about what my wallet's. I'm like, oh, there's $301 in my account, $300 Hot Toy, I got it. But
and you have to be like stern with yourself. You're like, okay, because like I said, I'm a completionist. So I had to pick like, all right, what fandom am I collecting? Because I started out with Star Wars, and then they started doing a lot of Marvel, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get Marvel. I was like, oh shit, these are really expensive. I can't do both. So I sold all
DC.
And DC, and so I sold all of my Star Wars and just exclusively did like Marvel and some DC.
Okay.
And then I got obsessed with Star Wars again when some shows dropped, and so I started collecting them again. And then I was like, okay, I gotta stop, and sold all my Star Wars again.
See, I'm not nearly as compulsive, and I'm not a completionist. Now, I will say, anytime a Wanda comes out, that bad boy's pre-ordered.
How many Wandas do you have?
3 currently. I have the Age of Ultron one, I have the WandaVision, and I have the Multiverse of Madness, like super sweet display with all the candles and stuff.
And see, I'm fine with just one character. I don't care what movie they're from.
I don't need the team.
One character.
But no, I'm very much more able to be like, okay, I like this character. I just want that one.
Right.
Like I treat them because we have the default shelves that are like boxes of displays. And so I'm like, if I have one for one shelf, that's all I need. I don't need to make sure this whole detolf is one piece.
Right.
But yeah,
I mean, I'm bad.
Take notes for that.
Because I'm also an artist, so I'll sculpt live action versions of cartoon or of like the comic characters, so they will go with the real ones I have.
Oh, nice.
We did 3D print. We did 3D print a torso of Wiccan, like from the waist up. We have a statue.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a bust.
Enough for now. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm currently working on a live action Vision.
I'm gonna take your iPad away.
Well, I'm guessing y'all have seen Thunderbolts, right?
Yes,
more than once.
Well, yeah, same. So what's crazy is like they did not waste no time for Sebastian Stan to start doing promos, dropping new Avenger posters over the Thunderbolts. I mean, we're like what 3 or 4 days after,
yeah,
and like
it was
boom,
just
everywhere.
Days after.
New Avengers everywhere. I'm like,
I understand leak culture. Like, I think the creation of TikTok really just made that fly off.
Yeah.
But for Marvel to do it, it's one thing to have it leaked and then like kind of decide where you're looking for it. Mm-hmm. But say, okay, I'm only going to look at the Marvel official stuff. I think they did that way too soon. Yeah. If I would have seen that, I don't know what type of words we're allowed to use on this. But if I would have seen that before I watched the movie, I would have been bleep, 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 blop, bleep.
I mean, I see what they were trying to. They were probably trying to get ahead of it, so it didn't get spoiled for them. Because then the promotion would be like, "Well, you guys know already."
That's kind of the fun of it, though. If you're looking for spoilers, you're gonna find spoilers. Sometimes you get it spoiled for you, but then you're like, "Oh, it's just like it's in passing. Like only the people in the know are in the like."
Yeah.
I think that there is another layer to them showing it off.
It did go with the movie marketing, like, oh, big news. Like, our name has changed for the new Avengers. I get it. It's just 3 days after.
I would at least waited for that, really like after the second weekend. At least after the second weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
just to breathe some new life into
so the box office can drop a little bit, and then that's new promotion again.
Like, get another spike.
Yeah.
What they should have done. How much are we allowed to talk about the Thunderbolts?
Oh, we're past second weekend, so I feel like go ahead, have at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Thunderbolts spoiler warning. And I tangent. So let's say if you don't want Thunderbolts spoilers, maybe like fast forward 5 minutes. I don't know. But I think that what they should have done is they should have had it as is their opening weekend, had that be the normal for like 2 to 3 weeks. And then they should have in like the third week before the third weekend or something. Then that's when they start rolling all this out. And they say now with an extended post credits where we see them be new Avengers a little bit. Because that is one thing I'm actually afraid of is we're going right into Doomsday. So are we actually going to see them as the new Avengers?
That would be clever.
Or even just a scene where Sam comes in and we tease like the legal bat, something extra.
Right.
I think that if you're going to rebrand it, there needs to be a purpose.
Yeah.
And doing it so soon, I don't feel that it served that purpose. But if you're really doing it to say, hey, y'all, whoever doesn't still know, let's go, and we'll give you some extra content too. Yeah. Even if it's just a few minutes, like them.
I don't think that first post-credit scene should have been a post-credit scene anyway. I think it should have been the end of it.
They've been doing that a lot though.
And had a different post-credit scene too. Yeah. Like, and that could go along with your thing. It could be an extended. Like, I thought it'd be funny if like, let's see him like filing to have that be his name for the Avengers instead of the
Avengers with the Z.
And it could have been like She-Hulk is the lawyer for the.
But that's what I'm saying. It's something new for audiences to say, you know what, I will go again, because that's all it would take for me. Is saying, let's do an extended cut. Even if that extended cut is literally 5 minutes, I will go.
Yeah.
Probably
100%.
Because the movie itself was phenomenal, and I want to go see it again regardless.
Same. Like, and what I would like to see is like, so we they did that 14 months later, and we know, okay, they've been established as the new Avengers, and now we know Bucky and Sam are kind of scuffling about it. And I would love to see, because I think there's still an untitled release for Marvel next year in February, if I'm not mistaken. if I'm not,
right.
I think so.
I'll say it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
What if we got a Civil War 2 and it was just about Sam and Bucky? No group going after it, and then by the end of it, we find a way that they collaboratively work together, and then we go into Avengers Doomsday, in May. And
I mean, honestly,
that would
I
be
think
cool.
that's the way.
Yeah, I would love to see
a joke
that
in there of it because of the name, though. Like they're fighting over the name rights.
Oh yeah.
And then going into Doomsday, we have a real Avengers team, and I don't know, maybe they go back to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, or maybe
I
like
the name Thunderbolts.
I do too. Or maybe like half of them fall off. They kind of have to go their own way. Half of them join Sam's group, and then that is our new Avengers team. But I would love to get a Civil War 2 because, like, even in the comics, and we got a Civil War 2, so that would be cool to have their own take on the second one, just like they did their own take on the first one, which was different than the other.
Ooh.
What
I actually that's the way to go, and here's the way to do it. So when you said kind of combine them and then like there's one after, I think it should be a Civil War. And then by the end of the movie, they're like, you know what? Let's make one true Avengers, and it shouldn't be ran by Val because Val's never going to have the public's best interests at heart.
Right.
But imagine having a scene where Yelena doesn't want to join Sam's team, but having one more pull with Red Guardian and being like, Yelena, it's your time and my time is over. And then Red Guardian dies. Boom.
I feel like next time we see, I think Red Guardian is going to die on screen. I feel like we will get him.
That's what I'm saying. Make it meaningful and be that, or that's the reason Yelena is like, I'm going to honor him and Natasha. I'm joining this real Avengers team.
Because he already kind of said that if Thunderbolts, he kind of already paved that way for like what you're saying, like, follow in your sister's footsteps. Like,
you know what, Feige, if you steal my idea, I'm not going to sue you. Just go for it. That's the true way forward.
No, I love this. I love that. And, like, I'm not gonna lie. Before Thunderbolts came out, I had the theory that we might see Red Guardian die in Thunderbolts, just because of that connection with him and Yelena to kind of shoot her even further in the path she needs to be in the future.
But that's what I wanted. That's the scene that I wanted for Thunderbolts. And I'm like, okay, here's a better use for it. Let's get her on the real Avengers team and make that the push that she needs.
I love this.
How many Avengers teams are we going to have? We have the Avengers, we have the new Avengers, and then are we still getting a young Avengers?
I think that,
I don't know.
I actually have an answer for that.
Okay.
So I'll just be spoiler alert, whatever.
Cross that.
No, for different. I have to give a new spoiler alert because this is for the leaked, the may or may not be true concept art for the upcoming Avengers.
Okay.
I do not think that will get much in Doomsday, but I think in Secret Wars is the leaked concept art of where the Young Avengers did assemble. So I think we are going to get the Young Avengers. However, I think that because of the complaining, we'll say fans. I'll be nice. I'll just call them fans instead of the other word I have for them. But I think we're going to get the team up, but I don't think it's going to be an official team or anything like that.
Gotcha.
I think
we'll get to see a moment with them in a movie, but
kind of like the A-Force.
Sure. Oh yeah,
yeah. So they've done that before.
But the concept art did have them all hanging out, and I think, who was it? Like Wong and Star-Lord or something?
Yeah, because they were around a table.
Like Star-Lord.
Yeah. I mean, they could even just say champions too.
Yeah, so I think
options.
Yeah, I think they'll use the champions.
And that could even be a nod. They could even just be like, "Look at our new champions," or something like that.
Right.
And that not even be like the name.
Well, and that was some of the latest rumor I've read over the past 3 or 4 months was that they're leaning more towards the nameplay of champions now than they are Young Adventures. So,
which I mean, I think it's smart. The casual, I would cry if we got a project that was titled Young Avengers, but I know that a casual Marvel fan is going to see that and say, "What about just the real Avengers?" Or I don't want baby Avengers.
Well, we also have more champions than we do Young Avengers at this point
in the MCU.
I'm going to say something that's also going to upset me, but I have to have my business hat on. After Secret Wars, the team has already worked together that's when you have a Champions Disney Plus show. Take them out of the movies, put them on Disney Plus, make them a smaller thing.
I think that I was going to actually suggest that, and you beat me to it. I think that because I've even seen some articles, or I forget who it was, but they said that
internet
that well, the TV shows won't really affect the movies. They're going to be like they're in the same world, but they're not
much smaller scope.
So yeah, I say throw them on Disney Plus, and that would be the Avengers we follow on TV.
I would take that trade-off because I think that She-Hulk, I think, should go to the movies. She should be a main Avenger. And so there are a lot of TV show characters that I would like to see move to the films instead.
Well, and these new characters are good. They're not as popular. So
put them on Disney
Plus. They don't work,
yeah.
Disney Plus, you only do one season of a show anyway, half the time.
Right.
But also, they do have a very strong niche audience.
Yeah.
Like Agatha All Along, that did well because that had a very strong niche audience.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that Champions would kind of do the same.
Yeah, and they wouldn't get hated if they wanted to skew a little young sometimes.
Like they get hated regardless.
I think you're right.
What they do, but,
no, yeah, that makes sense. No, I would love to see it. I hope we get something, and I hope it's like at least enough time on screen to pay off and be fair to them, because we don't need just a blip of it, a 30-second blip of it. We need something with some weight. Give it where it needs.
Me and Kevin gonna have words if that's what happens.
So
I've waited too long. Anyways, tangent.
No, you're good. So Charlie Cox spoke out here recently about Daredevil Born Again, this first season we got, and he absolutely hated this episode of Daredevil Born Again, and that is episode 5, which is the bank robbery scene where we get Kamala Khan's dad in there. I actually liked this episode. I enjoyed it. And he said it was one from the original script, the original screenwrite that they kept and they tied in. But he said he actually was like not feeling it the whole time they filmed it. Just was not feeling it. I actually enjoyed this, and I thought it was great because I thought it was a good blend of Matt, but still doing Daredevil stuff without him ever having to put the suit on. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was one of those little things that they needed that kind of helped blend the two worlds together, because we're going right into it as the Netflix Daredevil was the MCU. So it's a good way to like really get
have that connectivity.
I like the I mean, I liked it. I see where he's coming from, but I think it was important, if not, or if only for that one scene where I think that he truly mentally comes back as Daredevil when he puts on that bank robber mask,
does that staircase,
and just tears the guy to pieces.
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I was like, okay, he's back.
Yeah.
So I see why they kept it. I can see why he might be a little bit disappointed with it, but for me, especially as like a huge Kamala Khan fan, like that was, I really liked it. I don't know. I understand both sides on that one, but I do think that it did serve a narrative purpose.
It did. And I also liked
no problem with it.
I liked having that little bit of MCU connectivity. Like it didn't feel forced, like it felt, to me, it felt natural, but
and it gave it to us just enough so we know where we're at. Like it put all the questioning to bed of, is the Netflix show part of the MCU? Is it not? Was that a different Daredevil? Is it the same? It put that to bed with just like a couple simple lines.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people came into the show expecting a lot of cameos. And I mean, what we got, I'm kind of glad we didn't get a lot of cameos, but I think that taking this one would have made it seem further from the MCU. Yeah. And just having that one small, like not even like a real, I feel bad saying this, but like a real character cameo, like a hero. Just having her dad there was just enough, and it kept it grounded, and I think
that's what made it keep it grounded, is it was a civilian that has ties to a bigger superhero. So it did seem more neighborhoody.
Yeah,
and
it worked.
Kamala's big thing. It was for their community. So I thought it was great. The thing I have a problem with Daredevil was that they killed off Muse. It has nothing to do with.
I love Muse so much.
It has nothing to do with the Kamala Khan dad scene.
I didn't expect I'm not even trying to get off of that, but I did not expect Muse get killed off. I expected more screen time with Muse. I will say this.
Yeah,
I expected that to be a full season storyline.
Well, especially with being such a young actor that played him. Like I thought that he was going to stick around a little bit.
But also, if we were going to get a hot toy, that would be
it. Yeah. So Muse though is on my list to be one of my next cosplays. I absolutely loved his suit. I thought it was super sick, and super comic accurate too.
Yeah,
that'd be a really good because I mean it covers up everything. Yeah. So as far as people see, if your suit is on, then you look like the character.
Yeah, if it's on point, you're on point. And I've always loved the character Muse. Just he's a villain artist. What's not to love? It's awesome. It's gritty.
Anything with art you'll like.
I just loved it.
But next on the list, mark your calendars. The very next MCU debut is Ironheart. Finally lands on Disney Plus June 24th. But unfortunately, it's kind of broke an MCU record of the shortest amount of time between a premiere and a trailer release, which is so saddening. I mean, I kind of know probably why, because this was made.
I have feelings on this, but
yeah, I feel like it was made, when a lot of stuff was being rushed. It probably wasn't, upholding the weight that a lot of people were missing. So I still think you should market it though.
Not everybody's a fan of Riri.
Why?
So I see why I mean, we all know why.
I'll go back to the phrase fans.
But she didn't get she was one of the better ones, but she really didn't get a lot of praise when they introduced her in the comic books. And I think that's spilling over into the MCU for all these characters.
She also didn't get praise when they introduced her in Wakanda Forever.
Exactly. So
I liked her.
I don't think that she's going to be a fan favorite. So I think they're just kind of like, yeah, we made the...
See, but here's the thing. If you're going to make a choice, you have to make that choice.
Yeah.
And if you are going to, I mean, just like they did with Echo, my thoughts on Ironheart, I think that they are holding off advertising because they want the last, like Thunderbolts. Right now, there's a good taste in everybody's mouths. They are all sated. And then if as soon as the trailer for Ironheart comes out, they're going to be like, oh wait, we're supposed to hate you. But
focus will shift on that.
That's why they're trying to make it to where by the time they give the hate to the show, it'll be too late. The show will be out.
Which, no matter what, I think it's silly that they're releasing the show so close to the advertisements, because I feel like if you put the time into it, you put the money into it, you've made this show, promote it.
Yeah. I mean, well, and Ryan Coogler was a producer on this. We know how great Coogler is. I mean, he has his hands in this.
Yeah, and even if it is bad, you're making sure it's bad and is going to fail without advertisement.
Right.
But also, Thor: The Dark World and Secret Invasion. There's been a couple rough MCU projects, at least watch and give it a chance.
Right.
But
I don't know. I feel like no matter what, even if it's bad, it's still better giving it a better chance advertising.
It's still part of the story. You're not taking it away. You didn't take this off the roster and we're just not going to put it out like Batgirl or whatever. Like this is still part of the story. So you guys still nurture it and give it to us because it's still something you can't deny. So and
like I said, they made a decision to make it, commit to it,
right,
and say, you know what, we're going to celebrate. We're proud of this, regardless of whatever flack we're going to get for it. Like we're passionate about this character. Ryan Coogler's involved. That's your trailer right there.
I feel like
Ryan Coogler.
Right, push his name.
Respond better. yeah, throw it up there. Biggest name on the poster.
Also, how are you not going to advertise? And I'll choose my words carefully. How are you not going to advertise the Marvel project that is most heavily rumored to introduce Mephisto?
This is so because Sacha Baron. Oh wow, I'm drawing a blank. What's his name? Sacha Baron.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, because that has been trailer. The most heavily. Yeah.
So
say by Ryan Coogler, and then have the back of Mephisto and him turn around laughing like maniacally or something.
Well, that's the thing too. Like when you market this, like especially with Sinners being so great and being so big, immediately start the trailer off with producer Ryan Coogler from Sinners and Wakanda Forever and Black Panther. Started off hot and heavy like that.
Yeah, and not only that, but even if you want to get into the fine details of this, advertise it because it is tech and magic, and you're about to introduce Doom. Like,
which is a
that is Doom.
Yeah, it's a
it's a segue right into it.
Yes. Oh my God.
I do think that it will be a binge drop.
You think what?
Oh yeah,
I
think
by their silence, I think that they are going to do like they did with Echo, and we are going to be a binge drop.
Okay.
I think they're going to just try to have as little fanfare as possible. Say, if you want, you can check out this. What did they call Echo? They called it special
a special presentation.
I see it being that.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely going to be a special presentation at this point. And also, I think fans would, I don't know, be more forgiving or more understanding if at one of the Comic Cons or something, when Kevin Feige is like announcing stuff, he's like, yeah, and this show or this movie didn't do that great. We can see it from the ratings. Our bad. We're trying to do better. Right. Or like, even if it was just like an acknowledgement, like, yeah, that's not the best one of our movies. We
be a little bit more of an open book.
Maybe word it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But and be like, we hear you, we see you in the ratings. Like, we're going to try to make the next thing better for you.
But also, so transparency and communication, but also, if you do not celebrate the project that you are releasing, how do you expect anybody to buy into it?
Yeah,
exactly. You have to show some kind of support if you want others to support somehow.
Yeah, and that's with everything you do.
You have to say, I'm proud of this project. Come see it. If you don't, okay, but I think it's great. Like,
right.
Or if you shove it under the rug, then people are going.
Everybody else is going to do the same thing.
Exactly.
Like, and that's so disheartening because I've been looking forward. I might be like one of the only people in the world, but I've been looking forward to the show.
I mean,
I actually have too.
We have a statue of her right here. Like,
very nice. Yeah, no, I have actually been looking forward to this. Every time it's been pushed back, like I've been excited about this because Magic versus Tech, that's kind of something we haven't really seen yet. And yeah, we knew we were getting Doom, but this was the first time we heard we were getting it before we even heard about Doom. And so yeah. But on to a little bit more positive.
And y'all know how much I love Marvel Mystic. Like having that intertwined in any story. I'm like injected into my veins.
Just like I'm slightly upset with the whole Armor Wars situation. But anyways. Spider-Man Brand New Day just added Liza Colon-Zayas to the cast. So she is from The Bear. And I'm super excited about this. So what her casting tells us about the film's tone might be a little more heavy Miles. You know, we've heard from Feige and them that, you know, we are getting Miles, and we heard, you know, from Sony that we are getting Miles soon. We didn't get no timeline on this, but man, this is a great sign to possibly direct this in that way. Because we've already had so many telltales, you know, and hints towards it. I mean, Donald Glover and Homecoming, you know, there's been Feast, you know, from No Way Home.
Yeah. Oh, and if they do not bring Glover back to be Prowler at some point for Miles, like, how can you not do Miles without Prowler and have him be Prowler?
But I do think that this is a really good way, if it is going to be a new trilogy, to start that and make it a little bit different, make Peter a little bit more grown up, more responsible. He is the mentor this time. Like, I actually think that that's the best route to go to make people actually trust in Peter, because one of the biggest complaints that I've heard about the first 3 Spider-Man movies were he always had a babysitter.
Yep. And somebody hold his hand through everything.
Making him responsible for somebody else for a change.
Yeah, he's now the person that Spider-Man's going to for help.
I agree.
But I think this casting at least says that he's going to be teased in the movie at the minimum.
I also think it would be good synergy if they had Tom Holland wearing sweatpants over his suit at some point, talking to Miles. For the
let's not go Peter B. Parker.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's good synergy of making it all look.
That was my very first cosplay, Peter B. Parker.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's the only way I would comfortably, at my current size, be able to do a Spider-Man cosplay. Let's cover up.
She looks perfect. She looks
does.
like Miles. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
and then also we hear so many people they're like, oh, she might be a little too old to be Miles' mom. Listen, they went different route in the MCU. We've had a way younger, attractive Aunt May, you know, in the MCU,
loved,
which I love. Yeah, so they don't have to stick to the age.
I don't know why I never thought about Aunt May being able to be younger, because she's an aunt, and my aunts and uncles are really close to my age. Like they're like 10 years apart from me, the oldest one. And so when I first saw Aunt Maya's cast, I was like, oh yeah, I guess aunts can be young. Like it doesn't have to be an old lady.
Right. We're just so used to seeing it throughout the years between animation and comics, so you know.
Exactly.
But I think that's one of the changes that I don't think anybody complained about.
Yeah.
And with Rio Morales, I do not think it is important for her to be younger. No. I don't think that has any.
I don't either.
Especially if she's running for any political offices or anything, which she's been known to do.
That's true.
I think she should actually present more mature. Like, I don't know. I think this is, especially because they felt it important enough to announce it as its own thing.
And on that, piggybacking off that, Miles's dad is a seasoned cop. So
let's have this 22-year-old.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense that she is in that age range because surely Miles's parents don't have a huge age gap in their relationship. I wouldn't think. So yeah, she probably would be around that age.
I just it needs to be her. It needs to be her. I don't care what anybody says. This is who
it needs to be, or we want it to be.
Yeah, because like if Marvel doesn't make her Miles' mom, Marvel's messing up. I'm just saying.
I think people will riot out of the theater.
Yeah. Oh no, I think you're right. Well, I mean, like, also, like, man, I love her character on The Bear too, though. Like, God, I love The Bear. Have you watched The Bear? Oh,
no, I have not.
You are missing out. You are missing out.
I've heard.
Put it on the list. And also, you get Cousin, who's playing Ben Grimm, Eben Moss Baccarat, which I love, like, the crossover memes you're seeing. It's like the thing, wearing a apron or whatever, like from The Bear, and they're calling him Cousin. Like, it's hilarious. But yeah, I love it.
I mean, they also cast that main actor from Shameless as somebody in Star Wars. So
Jeffrey or Jeremy Allen White. He's playing Jabba the Hutt's son.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird. They picked him to play a CGI Hutt, which I don't. And Hutts don't talk English on top of that, so I don't know where they're going with that.
I mean,
maybe he'll be two different characters.
I mean, there has been Hutts in. Like that species has spoken English, I believe, in the comic books and stuff.
Oh, really?
So maybe this one will. And I also am really weirdly excited to see a buffed up.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's gonna look weird.
You just get Jeremy Allen like Misa, like that. I don't know.
You don't have to say no more. I'm already excited.
Yeah.
So I mean, usually when they cast one from a show, it seems like they cast a lot from that. So who knows? Maybe we'll see him in the MCU as well.
I want to hear from Blake. I hear enough from you. Who do you think Sadie Sink is?
I want to see it. I don't think she's going to keep the red hair in Spider-Man. I think that's too obvious. I think I want to see her as I want to see her as a Felicia Hardy.
I honestly think that's at least close to the route they're going to go. It will kill me that gorgeous red hair is going to not be on display.
Yeah,
but anybody thinking that she's going to be MJ is just.
I don't think we will have a Mary Jane Watson in our MCU.
Correct.
I just don't think we'll get one.
And
I will say this, like how y'all.
Yeah,
well, like how y'all were saying too, with the route of Peter and bringing in Miles. As much as I love these characters, I'm okay with us throwing Ned and Michelle Jones off to the side. I mean, like it's going to be a big loss. It's going to be a big lesson to learn on that mature decision he made. If you go back to where he makes them remember, you kind of took away the weight of why they, what the decision he made. So maybe bring Ned back into the trilogy toward the end as a hobgoblin. That'd be kind of cool. But other than that,
I would love to see
kind of the only way I want to see him back.
Other than that, leave them off and bring in some new cast. Bring in some new people in Peter's life. Let him
not hobgoblin that can use a sling ring.
Oh my god!
And that would be tech and magic too, honestly.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Kind of getting into the thing.
As somebody who has never cared for tech-based characters, all of these characters getting magic buffs, I'm all for it.
How much would that hit Peter if his best friend Ned became a villain after he cut him out of his
Dude,
life.
it would be so deep. It would be so emotional.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because Hobgoblin has magic. Like from the comics, he's into magic with the tech. So like it just makes sense. But let's bring in like Felicia Hardy. Let's bring in some other people from the Spider. You know, there's so many well-loved characters. Like, and I've been dying for a live action Black Cat for a long time. Like I love that character from the 90s animated series. I love every time they cross paths.
Yeah.
So we're not doing a restart, but I do like I hope we're doing a fresh start.
Yeah.
Like I think that was the point of his last movie.
Yeah, and if we are bringing in Miles, let's get Felicia in here real quick before we say bye to Peter.
Right. Yeah, well, I would like us to never really say bye to Peter, but like after that, by the end of this next trilogy, kind of fade him out into the background to where he comes in and out as more of a mentor on down the road.
Exactly.
And then focus heavy on Miles after this new trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, because I love Tom Holland. I love Spider-Man. I love Tom Holland.
That's my favorite Spider-Man.
I don't think he'll ever fully be gone.
Yeah, I don't need to see him fully gone. We will focus more on Miles at this point. So if they introduce him.
I also think a big point of that is outside of Marvel, Tom Holland has not been successful in other media. And so I think that's another tell that no matter what happens with Miles, I think Peter's always going to be there because Tom Holland wants that money. And
he's old enough to become the older Peter that we see throughout. You know, we've seen the stories told with older Peters.
And that's
he's
what
at
I
the
want.
age where he can do this forever. I mean, he really could.
Yeah, he is. It's perfect.
Till he's 90.
And honestly, they ship Gwen more with Miles nowadays in the comics anyway. True. So with the fact of him not being tied to Gwen, that would make sense to save that character for Miles.
Yeah.
And not introduce her for Peter. Because I know there's rumors of her being Gwen as well.
I'll say I would love some live action Gwen. However, I got some opinions on her being with Peter or Miles. I don't want it.
I can tell by that face you made.
Well,
by comics, I didn't say it.
As somebody who collects Gwen comics,
okay.
In my head canon, the end game for her is Earth 65 MJ.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right.
Like there's been some tension, and I don't know if it hadn't just been friendship tension.
Well, right now she's messing around with a villain named Tarantula.
Let's say I need to catch up on like the most recent run, but no, her and Earth 65 MJ. I know that in the comics they currently have no plans to bring her back to her home Earth, but
well, I'm just saying
that's what I want.
Like Into the Spider-Verse and stuff, she is very much shipped with Miles. So I say we'll introduce Miles, then we'll introduce her as a love interest. And
it's possible just because of how well loved the Sony Spider-Verse, animated series has been so popular, which is such a beautiful animated. I can't wait till this third one. Beautifully animated.
And we need more stuff to hold that fan base over because it takes 10 years in between those movies. So let's get some live action.
So
you're right about that. You're so right.
It just makes it easier because like this Peter doesn't have a tie with her.
I was going to say
with Gwen Stacy. So it would be weird if like Miles started dating her or was any kind of romantic interest if we also did it with Peter. So
I just find it astounding that at the end of the day, what if we get live action Miles before we get the third Spider-Verse movie?
Oh my god! I'm gonna be honest with you, it wouldn't shock me.
Talk about
delays.
It would not shock me at all.
No.
We like get Miles introduced
like it better be the best
an end
movie
credit
ever.
scene or toward the end of Brand New Day next year, and then like you said, I mean that'd be a full year before the last Spider-Verse movie because that's now 2027 that's been pushed back to, which is
as of right now
sickening. Which they're like, it's because we're trying to.
That's my final guess.
Yeah, I love how they keep saying like, well, it's because we're doing even newer animated styles, so we will make sure it's right. Come on, y'all.
Because it's taken so long, they've reinvented animation in between.
Right. But speaking of X-Men reboot rumors, here's one that kind of also is reigniting that. Jake Schreier may be entering in the mute conversation. So as we all know, he just helmed Thunderbolts, which was phenomenal. The guy has the proof he knows how to work well with a team story and to really hit on, these emotional things and dark times and struggles, which, let's be honest, that's what the X-Men's all about. So literally, I don't think that there could be more of a perfect person. I'm sure there's other people who can do it, but I hope this is true. Like they say that he's not going to be, but he's the top contender right now that is in talks with possibly doing it. And I'm here for this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he hasn't signed anything, but he's in talks. But also, X-Men is a soap opera. X-Men, it's all about the drama. It's all about the flashiness. It's all about the relationships. And I think that that's one thing that he does really well. And then just bring in a couple of those Marvel stunt teams that help write those fight scenes. But no, I could not think of a better person to do X-Men. Which before now, I didn't really have a good person to recommend for that. But I think the relationships that take place in X-Men, I trust him to do at this point.
And also, he come to find out he is a big X-Men fan. So he actually was over Beef. And there's like a scene in there where here's a scene in there where he dropped in the line that something about Wolverine can never be circumcised. and it's because he's an X-Men fan. Is why he had that line dropped in there on Beef. So I thought that was hilarious. But so I don't know.
I mean, was someone show that I did watch. I didn't catch that line, but
so with him being an X-Men fan and him doing Thunderbolts so well, I think give it to the guy. He's earned it. He has earned it.
Well, we know it. They're not going to give it to Bo DeMeo, so let's give it to Jake.
This is true. So Marvel just dropped
a little less controversial.
Yeah. Marvel just dropped a 10-hour meditation video with Daredevil. Has anybody enjoyed the 10 hours of meditate with Daredevil?
I have not checked it out. I've heard about this, but I haven't personally checked it out.
I'd say it's been hard to find 10 minutes of free time, let alone 10 hours of free time.
So,
what happens in it? Like,
so literally, I think it's him just kneeling down, staring at you directly into the screen, and it's just a sound of rain. So, like, I actually tend to, like, at nighttime, I'll turn on rain sounds, and I thought about turning this on one night just to turn it on and say I had it on for 10 hours. But I've not watched it yet, but I think it's just rain sounds and him just looking there staring at you dead to the camera.
Honestly, I'm kind of into it. I might go watch this now.
What is him doing all day streams lately?
No,
I don't know with the Wolverine one.
The best long form video that they did for promotion, they did it was like 5 hours of ASMR of the Agatha All Along cast. I watched that in its entirety.
I forgot about
that.
I
did watch. Now they did loop it a bit too much, but that was golden.
That was actually the very first one they did, wasn't it?
I do like that they're branching out and trying weird things because it's weird. It gets people talking about it, and it gets people talking about things other than I'm supposed to hate on Marvel. They're like, what's this weird thing that Marvel just did? And it's kind of it changes the conversation, and I think it's really smart.
Yeah.
Like, is it useful to watch the video? Absolutely not. I mean, I might give me 20 minutes alone upstairs, but I think maybe edit that out.
Nah, it's staying in.
Awesome. Hi, family. But I do think that they've had some really creative things that they've been doing lately to help kind of curb that conversation away from the toxic fandom. And if they continue to have stuff at the level of Thunderbolts, I think that's a 1-2 punch that'll end up helping them in the long run. Like this, I mean, their new movie is really good and they're doing some weird stuff. Did you see this 10 hours of Daredevil sensually looking in the camera in the rain?
That kind of goes with like what we talked about earlier with the Thunderbolts. Yes, it was too soon with 3 days after, but putting up those posters saying that they were the new Avengers, it's cute, it's fun, and it's different.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't agree with the timeline of that, but it did generate conversation.
Yeah,
it did.
Not
just
all
like
of it was positive because some
us,
people were angry, but still.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like all of us podcasters, I mean, the more you get us to talk, the more free marketing they're getting by doing stuff like this. So, and like rain sounds is a pretty popular thing on YouTube for people to go to sleep to.
Yeah.
So, like, you probably just honestly grabbed any Marvel fan and switched them to listen to this every night instead of whatever rain sounds you listen to YouTube anyways. So, I mean. And YouTube,
And if
let's
they're
be
searching
honest,
for it, they find it and they're like, "What is that?"
and let's be real, Marvel, the views that they get and the comments they get, they're making some money off YouTube channel. They are making some good money. So, and that you got this is something that can live forever to make you create your money. So,
So Marvel YouTube at least knows what they're doing for now.
Yeah, probably the last section for Marvel today, and this is probably my most exciting topic I want to talk about is Alan Cumming just leaked a scene where he is hitting Pedro Pascal in Avengers Doomsday. What is happening? So this was dropped in an interview that he was in a scene and he's got to hit Pedro Pascal in the head or in the face, he says, on BuzzFeed UK. And I don't think he was meant to drop this. I think this accidentally slipped out and he didn't probably realize. He probably didn't even think there was no weight to it, but all of us Marvel fans, we are running with this. So what do you think that, what scene we might get here?
I mean, I'll go first as somebody that would pay Pedro Pascal to punch me in the face, and I would say thank you. But I personally think this is not a 1v1. I think this is... It sounds to me when they first meet each other, maybe they think that the other team is in charge of whatever chaos is going on. Because I feel like, especially, like, if you get Johnny Storm and Ben, they are going to punch first, ask questions later. And so I see a conduit into that fight. But I think this is the two teams first see each other and they're like, "You're the bad guy. No, you're the bad guy. Let's punch."
But like we almost get an Infinity War scene like we did with Iron Man and Star-Lord, when they meet there on the planet and they realize, why is Gamora? Like I think we'll get a scene like that, and then they realize, oh shit, we should work together.
Yeah. It probably will be something like that. I mean, also they could just be competing. We know we're never going to see this Nightcrawler again anyway. Right. So maybe they're fighting to get picked to be the occurrence or whatever we're going to call it for Secret Wars. Also, I'm just excited to see this fight. You got a teleporter and a stretchy guy. Like,
that's just, say, what's Reed gonna do? He's gonna have to use his brain instead. He's gonna have to have some device that cancels out.
He'll probably just calculate where he thinks he's gonna poof in next, and bam.
Right. I'm just glad we're getting Alan Cumming one more time as Nightcrawler. Like I love his Nightcrawler. Yeah. I think he is out of the two versions we got. He is the better version we got out of the films in the past.
I mean, I feel like that's the way it is for almost all of those characters. Like I love the original Mystique a lot better.
I love Jennifer Lawrence, but Rebecca.
Yeah, exactly. Jennifer Lawrence is amazing. I like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I love her, but she just was not Mystique for me. It
also ruins it that she's very vocal about how much she hated being Mystique.
Yeah. Well, like I really love Rebecca's more, but the funny thing is, like, and a lot of people tend to lean that way. Which I love Jennifer Lawrence in a lot of things, and Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique was actually a bit more comic accurate, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, it was, but
it's because she's good at playing a bitch. Mystique isn't the nicest,
but I just love that Mystique though. I prefer that movie Mystique more than the comic book Mystique.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that kind of.
I wonder if it'll be all CGI this time or anything.
I hope
not. The technology has changed dramatically.
Yeah. Well, we see with Nightcrawler though. He talks about how many hours it took to do his. He's like now he's like even makeup's advanced so much that he's like it's cut it down by I think a quarter of the time that they can apply, because I think they individually applied all those pieces that he had prosthetics on, and now he's like it's kind of one giant piece that they can do. So
which is great. And you
also have to think of sorry, you go.
And I was just going to say that's great too, because that'll bring more actors in that are willing to do prosthetics and things like that. So.
And if you look at like stuff like behind the scenes of WandaVision, like he doesn't have that full get up on. He's still painted and everything, but he's got those little dots where the silver pieces go. So who knows how detailed the makeup is? Is it everything, or is it just enough to superimpose the rest on,
like around their eyes?
So that's kind of my question. I want to see the difference in makeup of what is actually applied versus what is kind of the base layer, and then VFX is over, because we did see Kelsey Grammer's Beast is like all CGI. So who knows? Because for some things they're like super gung ho, let's do this practical, and then other things are like, you know what, just post.
Well, and I'll be honest with you,
like it depends on the one.
Yeah, like I love makeup and prosthetics, and like that's something I grew up in. My mom was big into the FX movie makeup stuff, and so like I started at that at a young age, and like I had a mold of my own face. I made my own prosthetics, but like I will say, like with Beast, I can appreciate the practical prosthetics and makeup they did. But the Beast we got, and then the Marvels, that's the route they should have went. Like that.
Some things look better not over top of a real human face.
Yes,
it was
perfect. Because you are.
Oh my god. I was so pumped when we get that, because I was like, that's the Beast we deserve with the right voice. Kelsey Grammer's got the best voice for Beast too.
Oh yeah.
And now he can play it forever because he doesn't have to actually act anything. It's just his voice.
Yeah, we did some random person in the CGI suit.
I'll do it.
We did a casting video for the X-Men, and he was my pick, even though we were trying to pick new people. I was like, Kelsey Grammer. Like, it needs to be him, but if it can't be him, then we'll.
No, for sure. Well, that kind of wraps us up for Marvel this week. Let's hop into some DC. So, Sean Gunn is maybe officially a Superman, kind of. So not really sure where they're leaning into this, but here's Sean Gunn finally confirms his role as Maxwell Lord in Superman at Northern Fan Con. He said he asked James Gunn recently if he can even say that he's in the movie, and James told him, you can say you're kind of in the movie. So I'm kind of in the new Superman. So I think we're going to get like maybe a newspaper clipping or something on the TV. I don't think we're actually going to get a scene with him. I think it's going to be something like that. Maybe. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's going to be just enough to tie it in, so that way they can be like, look, he's in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
My thing is, it's funny if he's either barely in it or just kind of offhand mentioned, because that's one of the first castings that we knew about this movie in the new DCU.
Yeah.
And like, of course, we're going to know his sooner than others because, related. Right. But for them to even announce that is interesting. If he does have a smaller role, I am inclined to believe that it didn't start that way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it'll even be a mention. I think we'll visually see something of him. I just don't know. I think there's no telling. I mean, honestly. But speaking of the Peacemaker, kind of will tie into that. We finally have Peacemaker, I think, season 2 teaser. But man, I did not expect the connectivity we got in this. So Guy Gardner, Hot Girl, and Maxwell Lord. We know he's definitely in that. So it's kind of interesting to see that we got this and how much was in this first teaser trailer we got.
I love it.
I'm ready for this. So I'm season 1. So like and this is like unpopular opinion, when they put Peacemaker, I'm not a huge John Cena fan. I think his acting is not that great. But when they put him in Suicide Squad with Idris Elba, a lot of people loved it, and I was not the biggest fan of it. But when Peacemaker season 1 came out, I died laughing. It won me over as him as Peacemaker. I thought it was freaking hilarious, start to finish.
Yeah, I think my Peacemaker experience was I didn't really care for him in the movie, because I mean there was just so much more interesting things in the movie, like Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher, and how do you overshine Harley Quinn. But also like Weasel and everybody dying immediately. But spoiler. But I think one thing, I did not expect to like the show whatsoever, because I mean, as a part of the LGBT community, like the character that he portrays is very much like the people that used to pick on me in high school and like super toxic masculinity.
Right.
So to see that, I mean, his Peacemaker is bye. And just to kind of see the transition from the beginning of the season to the end of the season to, he started off like I didn't like him as much, but throughout the series, I actually really like the show and I really like him as a character.
His evolution.
Which is something I never thought that I would say. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Peacemaker now, and I will take all of it that I can get, but also making sure that they know, we know that this was before the DCU technically started, but also James Gunn made this, so we're going to keep it. So yeah, they really have to lean in and say, this is connected. This counts. This don't discount it.
I'm just excited to see Vigilante.
Oh, dude,
you gotta be excited for Eagle.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is like we see two Peacemakers in this, and here's where I think that James Gunn's going to show this connectivity. So I think that one Peacemaker is from the universe we've seen in season 1, right? And I think the other one is going to be from this new James Gunn universe. And I think this is going to be the ending of that Peacemaker we've seen from the last universe, and it's going to take place within the new James Gunn universe, and we're taking off from there. I don't know if this Peacemaker is going to kill that Peacemaker, and that's how they're going to do it. But I think
that would be a very James Gunn thing to do.
I think what I was going to say.
It screams James Gunn. Yeah, I think it would be. I think it's easy. It's James Gunn's style, and I don't know. I think it works. I hope that's the route they go. We see Michael Rooker in this as an unnamed character, dressed as a Native American sitting around a fire too. And Michael Rooker always plays some crazy off the wall freaking. He plays crazy off the wall characters in anything. But I'm curious to see what the hell his character is, because obviously this man's not Native American. So
I will say for Peacemaker season 2. Picture this: the opening scene, the scene of Peacemaker that we know is like, all right, I got a task, let's do this. Immediately just gets shot in the head, falls forward, and then the other Peacemaker after a couple of seconds step through, and then immediately it's the new Peacemaker show.
There you go.
I think that
I can see that too.
We are killing the old DCEU and we're stepping into the show immediately in James Gunn's universe.
Right. And that would be super James Gunn style to do. Like, so yeah, I'm super interested. I'm super anxious to see this. And like the scene with Guy Gardner and Hot Girl and Maxwell Lord sitting in there, I guess like, interviewing him, and they don't turn that speaker off. It's just freaking hilarious. I absolutely love James Gunn's style of comedy that he intertwines. But I'm
interested
for it.
To see it for a Superman story.
yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I'm super ready to see this. I'm ready to become a DC fan on screen.
Yeah.
But man, I'm fingers crossed that he does well with this, because if this doesn't do well, it's gonna really be hard to come back from it. So,
and it's all on him. He's creatively in charge of all of it right now.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is one that he is not just writing.
Yeah,
go ahead, sorry.
That's the only. I am worried about how soft the reboot is. Speaking of Peacemaker being that old cast just stepping into the new one, I think that might confuse some people. Also, it's a little weird that our Peacemaker looks a lot stronger than Superman.
But he's not Kryptonian.
This is true. This is true.
And don't get me wrong, I love David Cornsweet as Superman. I think he looks fantastic. It's just funny.
I'm okay with it.
Don't ever want them side by side in the same scene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've seen some pictures of Cornsweet, and he looks
jacked.
He looks jacked. It's just for some reason he doesn't in the suit. And
yes,
that's fine. I don't care. It's just gonna be funny with.
Well, there's some training pictures of him, like after he's been through so much of his training, and the dude does look jacked. Yeah. But like when you said you see him in the trailer or in still shots in the suit, he looks half the size he looks in real life when he's like training at the gym. And I'm like, this don't even make sense. If you look at him, he's like, that guy's almost big as Henry Cavill. I mean, like his arms and stuff. But then the suit, you're like, well, I thought he was. Like, I don't know.
Well, that way, the shirtless scene will be more impactful.
Yes, we all know that they're probably going to give Superman at least one shirtless scene.
I mean, if there is any good in the world, yes.
I mean, he looks so much like Henry Cavill, though. They could have probably easily not.
He does look like a younger version. He does look like a younger version.
Because I actually miss like old 80s and 90s movies where they just didn't even acknowledge a new casting. They just kept going with the story, and it's just a different actor. Like, get over it. It's fine.
About to have an Iron Man 2 situation.
I think that's a lot less confusing than rebooting an entire universe.
But that's what people like now. They want it to be that person.
Well,
Unless Chadwick Boseman, and then the internet just wants everything recast.
Live action Teen Titans and a new Teen Titans Go is confirmed. DC is expanding fast. They've had a couple things cancel, kind of back out lately, but we got way more things that are, expanding in the universe. We've kind of talked on here before in the past, actually, about the Teen Titans, that's been confirmed. But the new thing is the Teen Titans Go. So in an appearance on Smartless podcast, Michael DeLuca, who is the Warner Brothers CEO, he let it slip that James Gunn and Peter Safran are working on a live-action Teen Titans Go project. I don't know, if this is going to be movie or show on Max or what, but I'm like, okay, wow. I guess if anybody's okay with letting something slip, it can be the CEO of Warner Brothers. But I did not expect this. I got excited about the Teen Titans, but the Teen Titans Go, I don't know why. Like, why you gotta do both?
I don't know why they're doing both either. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, from a business aspect, because Teen Titans Go is extremely popular.
That's making them a lot of money.
I mean, it's the longest running DC cartoon.
Right.
So
which is insane.
It's just, like I see the regular Teen Titans. I don't need off the go.
Like, I love the Titans. I grew up in that 2000s TV show like everybody else. That is what I want.
And I enjoyed that,
after
actually.
A few drinks, mostly. Teen Titans Go is actually quite enjoyable. But that's not the Teen Titans that I would like to lean into.
Right.
We'll say, given the current reign at DC. I mean, the CW. It's not even CW. It was Max, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah, it was Max.
Tried their darndest. I don't think they quite hit the nail on the head with their version of the Titans.
I can appreciate their try,
I don't know. I'd be okay with a little bit of a break.
It was just a little too dark. I think they, like, if you did an even balance of the two, you'd have a great show. Not too much comedy, not too much dark.
It tried so hard to be so dark, and it just we'll say not all of it was delivered. How it was intended.
To me, it was a 60-40 thing. I felt like 60% of it was really good and their effort and what they tried with their budget. But then, like, there was 40% of it. I feel like they could have used a little bit of different writers, a little bit bigger budget, and a little bit, don't go as broody and dark as you went with it. Lighten it up just a little, and it would have been great. So I would love to see Gunn's take on a Titans like that, and try to give us some live action from that way, but stick to one Titans project. You don't have to do two.
Exactly.
I mean,
my thing with the Titans is it's very much the core of Titans is they are one family. They get along and they fight the same way as a family, and I never got that feel from the Max version.
It's true. That is true.
But also, if we're gonna have Beast Boy in something, can we have him be more than one animal? And can we have him always be green?
Right.
Like, you could feel the limit of that show, and it was very apparent by how much we leaned into the Bat family side of things. Because the show essentially, after a bit, was literally just a spin-off Batman show.
Right.
And that's why I kind of fell out of the show after that, because I was like, okay, Titans has so much you could pull from, and this is what we're doing.
My question with them doing both these Titan shows at the same time is, I feel like with James Gunn's style anyway, we're essentially getting a mix of the two, because I feel like his Teen Titans is going to act very Go-ish live action anyway, because he's of his humor. So
which is okay, because they're supposed to be teenagers.
Just combine them,
right,
and make it kind of a goofy but can be serious if you need it to show.
Well, and here's the thing with that. Who's to say eventually they won't be one project?
That's true.
Like, there have been rumors going back to Marvel for a hot second about Agatha All Along season 2, a Wiccan show, like a gajillion things spinning out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, like, it was consolidated into one, and then we'll see eventually if we ever get it.
Yeah.
I think that when we hear stuff like this, we have to think of the context of they're still workshopping all of these things, and we'll see which one is better. And they're just the thing about James Gunn is the man says everything that is on his mind.
Yeah, he does.
So I think that especially with DC right now, we have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Right.
Okay, one of these projects might not go forward. Neither of them might go forward, or they might be combined eventually. And it might just be they're seeing what to do with Titans. And so they're developing two different directions and seeing what works. And I would be okay with that.
Yeah. This is very true. And we're talking about a WB CEO, right? This guy probably don't even know much about DC and probably didn't know what he's talking about. It could be just one Titans thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know where over Teen Titans Go cartoon got it all mixed up and like misspoke, and now it's just getting everybody up for. We're going to find out later. Oh, just kidding. That actually was never
very well could have been. Yeah.
And then and you really, even if it came from somebody in the DC area.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't one of those projects already said that it was put on hold? Like a James Gunn project? I feel like there's one.
Sergeant Rock was spoken about, and then just last week it was announced. Now they're not doing it because Colin Farrell was in the Daniel Craig. Then Daniel Craig pulled out. Then Colin Farrell, and then there was talks. Well, if Colin Farrell's doing that, he's probably not going to be Penguin no more. And then they canceled that because I feel like they do need more Penguin. So like I think Sergeant Rock's completely off the deal, and that was one of the things that was announced. So and then also Clayface is still on track, about 3 months behind now, and it was going to be Mike Flanagan, and they just announced it a couple weeks ago or a week ago. Mike Flanagan's no longer over that project, but by him not being over the project, it only pushed it back 3 months. So I think they already have somebody else in mind and in talks to take over. So
yeah, and it's a tricky thing to balance because in our Marvel talk we were like, all right, let's talk transparency with Kevin Feige and accountability and ownership of what you're doing. But what we're seeing here is the exact opposite, and going too far and just telling everything. But because we're not in the room with those conversations, we don't really understand the context or what it actually is.
Well, because
and so just so much speculation about DC right now because we're just getting bits and pieces, and not all of it even goes to the same damn puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does make it for a fun conversation, but I think they're going to struggle because of that, because everybody's just going to be really confused.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with us.
Transparent. They're just doing it on the wrong end. We want transparency of the crap they've already done, not.
Yeah, they need to find that moderation. Like we're like, oh man, Kevin Feige, he keeps so much secret, and we're like, we wish he would tell more. And then we're like, oh, James Gunn's telling way too much because half the stuff probably won't follow through because they're just ideas that they haven't been thought through.
James Gunn needs to not control his own Twitter account. He really needs somebody to run it for him and approve each post and just more thought into what goes to the public.
DC's announcements is very much tweet shower post or shower thoughts.
No, for sure. That's like a perfect description of like how they are.
Yeah.
But
it's good though because it does show like, okay, if Marvel were more transparent, would we get more of this? And like there's problems and there's plus and minus to both ways.
There is.
Because the DC way, there is a ton of conversation anytime something happens, but more confusion. But Marvel, we, at least at one point, and a lot of people feel it's a well-oiled machine. There's more thought behind everything, and it's a more, I don't know.
Well, you don't want to spit out so many project ideas that you're not sure if will happen, get people excited, and then you get them pissed off when they don't go through.
Yeah.
So like that can work as just positive, but turn around and be just the biggest negative in the long run if that's how it kind of plays out.
Which DC is known for doing.
Right.
Like thinking about it for me, if I knew that a show like Agatha All Along was on the horizon, and then because they took James Gunn's route and just spewed everything, and then knew that much about it, and then they just didn't continue with it, I would lose faith in Marvel. Like I would, because at first I would feel Marvel sees me, they hear me, they can relate to me, but I'm not their priority right now. Which I'm used to that. But I don't know. It's tricky. It's a tricky situation, and I don't envy either side. Like, this is why I am only in charge of the Bleeding Rainbow Comics social media, because if I post something, nobody cares.
Well, that kind of wraps us up with DC. Let's slice into some Star Wars. So Andor's newest episodes 7, 8, and 9 have dropped this past week, and the rebellion just got real. So episode 7 is called The Messenger, episode 8's Who Are You, and episode 9's Welcome to the Rebellion, which is kind of the last phrase we get in that episode, which was iconic. Have y'all been watching Andor?
I have not. I have not even seen the first season, if we're being honest. So this might be a conversation between y'all, and I'll just chip in when need be.
No. So like, I love Andor. I think it's a great espionage spy series. I think it goes to show that you can get a good project in Star Wars that's not about Jedi. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about some Jedi and Sith. But I think it goes to show there's so many realms in this galaxy storytelling you can do, and it work, and it be good writing and great acting.
Yeah, and I've always wondered more about the government side of Star Wars. I mean, that's essentially what the story is about. It's about Palpatine taking over the government, and we hardly ever hear a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I heard that line in A New Hope of, like, shut down the council or the thing or whatever, the council committee. Yeah, he was ever since he said that line, I was like, what committee? What, he taking over the government? What was the government before? What? So I love, and that's what I loved about the prequels, is that we saw more of that collapse. So
I like how you see. Well, there's like so many more people involved that this affected than just your main stars that we've seen in the original movie. So it's great to see these other players. You still get the players who had a movement in the big storytelling, but they might have been on the side and they were behind the scenes type things from the movies. So I love that we get these other pieces, but then you get these other side quests and stuff that you see of how they affected just your everyday people that were suffering and living underneath this regime as it took over. So
and I love seeing those. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I wanted to say I also love seeing all these new different jobs. Like you got to see you get to see reporters in Andor. You've never seen a reporter before in Star Wars, and TV shows and stuff like that. So it's just fun.
Yeah, and I tell you what, these last 3 episodes are probably some of the best of the 2 seasons of Andor that they've ever done. Like it's pretty going at it, and man,
I do hear that my boy K2 came into play, so I might watch now. But I was going to start season 2 with him, but he said K2 didn't pop up, and that's what I was promised for this season. So I've been waiting for that to even.
We just got him at the end of
because I love Rogue One. Rogue One is by far my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's one of the best.
I needed that hook.
Right. No, it's one of the best. I loved how we seen the last episode where that he's looking at him, and when all the other droids are looking straight ahead, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. And then he's like, and then he takes him cut in half or whatever. I'm like, all right, it's about time.
Yeah,
it's about time. But like, it's cool too because this last couple episodes we finally get to see Cassian jump fully on board and kind of embrace. And then like the whole scene with the Force Sealer, that was really cool too.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really have a choice but to be a part of the rebellion since his chick left him. So.
Right, and that's the other thing too. I love what they got going on, and like how we seen. I think it was at the end of episode 6 where they stick that dude in the electric chair and they walk off or whatever. I'm like, all right, that's right.
Yeah, that was awesome. I want to see Mon Mothma's family reaction to after that speech.
Yeah,
because that was an awesome speech, and I love her reaction once she was being rescued by the rebellion, and by Andor. She was like, "Oh crap, what have I done?" Like you could see it on her face. It really sunk in. Like there is no going back. I'm not playing a game anymore. This isn't fun. I just started a war.
Right. And I love how, like, we get so much of her character when this is someone we barely got to see in the original trilogy. And then it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I didn't realize just how hot and heavy her hand was in the play of all of this, you know? And
Yeah.
I made a post the other day on the socials. I thought it was really cool. But the original person that played Mon Mothma, she's 92 and she's still alive.
Yeah.
And she's a British actor. And like, I think it would be
Mhm.
really cool that she gets to see her character back on screen, played by a younger
Yeah, and
version.
develop so much and, like, have
Yes.
so much more story to her now.
Yes.
I've also seen, and since we're on here, I do wanna address, I've seen a lot of posts of people complaining about, like, "Oh, well, they're doing Mon Mothma so luxurious and built up in her clothing, and it just doesn't look like Mon Mothma because in New Hope and everything, she just has a chain and, like, a poncho."
Right.
But if you think about it, like, she just got ripped away from her.
Yeah.
She's now part of the rebellion.
Yes.
Lives in these rebellion places now. So, yeah, she's probably gonna look like crap.
Yeah, well, I think it actually adds more weight to her character and
Yeah,
realizing
me too.
what she was comfortable in the lifestyle she was, you know, a part of, and then, you know,
Yes,
sure her morals and values held more weight than what her financial and luxurious life was, that she was willing to, you
exactly.
know, step away and do what was right. So to me, that just speaks more
Mhm.
higher about her character. Like I think it works. I think
Yeah,
it's great.
I I love that about it because in it almost has, like, Hunger Games tones to it, like,
Yeah.
that luxuriousness and then taken to the
Kinda like
crap
Evie
house
and them.
false, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly,
Yes.
and that's what I love about it. So I love that they kinda did her up and she came from such a fancy planet, and they're all
Right.
about presentation.
Yeah, and this Tuesday, I think it's the finale, right? And so
Yes,
I'm anxious to see
last
how
Tuesday.
they wrap this up. And then, you know,
Yeah.
Diego Luna, he's like, once this ends, he's like, go back and watch Rogue One. He said, I promise
Uh-huh.
you, you'll watch it from a whole different set of eyes and have a whole different new experience, no matter how many times
Yeah.
you've watched it. So
Which is awesome because that's what Rogue One did for A New Hope,
yes,
because
yes,
it,
yes,
like,
yes,
went right
yes,
into it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd say that these episodes will go right into Rogue One.
So, as somebody
So
that hasn't seen Andor, does
Mhm.
it go right up to Rogue One now, or has it been renewed for a third
we're
season? Like,
2
what's the
years,
situation there?
Yeah,
this is the
so
last season, and we're 2 years
right.
out from
Okay.
Rogue One.
But then every week we do a time jump. We've done almost a
Yeah.
year or more time jump on every 3-episode drop that they've done so far. So we may
Yeah.
be like right up you know, months or a year before Rogue One when we have this
Mhm.
finale Tuesday.
Yeah, so I think that's what it'll be. I think the episodes are gonna butt right up to Rogue One, and then
Yep.
you
Damn
could
it! Now I gotta
watch
watch this thing.
Oh,
and
you
then you
do.
could watch Rogue One and then A New Hope, and it's all like one epic
Yeah. Yeah.
movie.
We'll stop after Rogue One. But I don't know. I
But
do miss me some Carrie Fisher. I'll keep going.
yeah, yeah, I do too. But other Star Wars stuff. Lady Ventress, Cad Bane, Tales from the Underworld, bringing two fan favorites back to the spotlight. Tales from the
Yeah.
Underworld is actually pretty dang good. We get
Yeah,
six
it
15-minute
is.
episodes. The first three focus on Lady Ventress, and then the last three focus on Cad Bane, two completely storytelling. I love
Mhm.
Cad Bane. That's another one that's on my list I want to do a cosplay of, but like he's going to be expensive. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
might be.
I was wondering what your opinion on those were because I actually thought that the Cad Bane,
Mhm.
I love both stories, but I thought
Right.
his was the weaker of the two.
Yeah. So
Like, I
Lady
was
Vent
more interested in Ventress than I
I
was
s
Cad
so
Bane's.
before I watched them, I was more interested in Cad Bane just because I love his character, and I love when they brought
Yeah.
him to Mandalorian. So I was, like, super excited that Lady Ventress, like, I knew of, and I'm like, I'm still interested
Mhm.
in, but I was more focused on Cad Bane. But I feel like they did the Lady Ventress one better than they did the Cad Bane. But at the same
Yeah.
time, considering Cad Bane was Mandalorian, kind of, you know, the Western space cowboy feel, it
Yeah,
did
it
lean
is
heavy into
fun.
that, and so, like, it is fun that they kept heavy into that Western theme, space cowboy,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know. I enjoyed both of them. I liked it. I would say this, I enjoyed the whole thing more than I expected to, because, like, they had that
Yeah.
Tales from the Jedi was the first season they did, and
Mhm, and then
I was just
or the
kinda,
Empire.
it was yeah, it was kinda, to me or whatever, but this one
Yeah.
out of all of them, I enjoyed the most. I will say that.
Yeah, I think which is surprising because I didn't think I was gonna like it. I was like,
Yeah.
Underworld, kind of like the Empire type thing. Like, I mean, we've been there. I want to see more like in-depth Sith stuff or something.
Right.
But then we got into it and I was like, all right, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Like,
my question is, when did you watch all of these? Because every spare second that we are not at work, you are with me. So when did you watch all of this content?
In the visuals, the visuals of this I thought was really, really good. Very, very intriguing. Like, and I was impressed because it almost did feel like it was an animated series they pulled directly from live action. It wasn't too kidified on the animation, where I feel like they do that on some stuff. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Well, and spoilers, I guess, since we're doing spoilers.
Oh yeah,
I have that is my job. Spoiler warning. I forgot which camera is going on right now.
With the Cad Bane story, I love how they're like, oh yeah, we killed him in Mandalorian, so let's just shoehorn in this new Cad Bane. Like, they could easily make that kid be a new Cad Bane if they wanted,
instead of a prequel story of the one we know.
Yeah.
I was intrigued though about like how they started out as friends, and then I will give them a props that like they leaned heavy toward the Western style, but then I was like, oh dang, I mean, his best friend, then they turned against each other, then his best friend raised his kid. It's like, yeah, and he still killed him. Like, I mean, Cad Bane's ruthless.
Yeah,
but
and he just has it, and this is the first time we've ever heard of his kid. So he just like,
and he wait for him still. I mean, turn on, walked into the sunset. Still, even after he killed him, it wasn't like, oh, you took my girl and you raised my kid, and someone kill you and take my kid back. No, he just killed him and left his kid. I was like, my God, my God. But
that was pretty intense for a Star Wars cartoon.
I'll say that seems actually sadly more realistic.
Honestly. But next on Star Wars list, we got Rebuild the Galaxy, Pieces of the Past. Release date for this is September 19th. I don't know if y'all seen the first one yet. I actually wanted to watch it. It's Star Wars Legos. And I'm like, all right, I'll watch it so we can talk about it on the show. Did not expect to love the first one as much as I did. But I was shocked. I was truly shocked because, like, I'll watch Lego stuff, but none of the Lego stuff is just like, oh my God, I got to watch the next Lego film that comes out.
Well, and Star Wars is like at the bottom of that list for me for the Lego stuff,
right?
Too.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Lego, it's like you put it on the background. And you do other things.
I took forever to watch this, and then I did because I was like, oh, that's fun. I can see like different versions of these characters.
Darth Jar Jar,
the closest I'm going to. Yeah, that's like one of the main pulls it was for me. It was like, oh, cool, Black Millennium Falcon, Darth Jar Jar. I'll give it a try. I'm bored.
But was Jar Jar redeemed as a character?
And I ended up loving it. So.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. Like, here's they announced it, I think, at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. But we actually get
what happened.
we actually get Ashley Eckstein that's reprising her voice as Ahsoka, as she played in Clone Wars, and but she is going to be an older version of Ahsoka Tano in a dramatic way, they said. And this will be a 4-part prequel series, I guess, from the last one we got. So this will be interesting at the least. I'm sure it's going to have a lot of laughs.
Oh, yeah.
I do like me some Ahsoka. She's one of my favorites.
I do too. The kind of wraps
she's gonna be like a sassy old grandma or something.
Dude, yes, I would die.
I can relate to her.
When they said dramatic, and like you see that picture, like she looks kind of silly too. Like her visual is dramatic. Like there she is on that far right.
Yeah,
I want her to look exactly like that, and it still be the darkest, most dramatic thing we've seen. That's what I want.
I mean, that is Lego style, so
yeah. But we'll kind of kick off to the rest of our mixed media with Educated Wish Entertainment. So the Righteous Gemstones just wrapped their finale completely. They're done, no more. And did it stick to the Holy Landing? I don't know if y'all have seen this. Have y'all watched any of the Righteous Gemstones? Okay,
I have seen like one snip, very uncomfortable clip of it, of some wedding that that I hated. So this might be a you conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just kind of graze over this. This is the finale. They're done. I will say this. So, like, I've never watched this until about 2 months ago. Tay, that's on here. She loves it, and she told me about it a couple of times. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I started watching it. It's freaking hilarious. Like the first 3 seasons are just the last season. I was so let down. Like, I don't know what happened to the writing, but it completely dropped the ball. But overall, it's pretty much making fun of people in mega churches and just constantly, like, there's a lot of truth to it, like to people with like crooks and all kinds of stuff. But then it's like all about the showbiz, and you have Walton Goggins in this. Huh? No. That's a new deal that's coming out where I know what you're talking about. I just seen the trailer for what you're talking about the other day, and I want to see that actually. But no, Walton Goggins
Adam Devine or something.
Adam Devine's in this. Danny McBride, Jennifer Nettles, John Goodman, Walton Goggins is in this. Walton Goggins looks like a mixture between Billy Graham and George Jones. And he's always scheming up his next big Hollywood production to make millions off of that he never follows through with. It's hilarious. But I will say, like, this last season was kind of a letdown compared to like the first 3. But it was pretty dramatic this last episode. Sean William Scott's in it. He ends up shooting all 3 of them in their lake house, and they somehow survive, and it's wild. But next thing on the list is Last of Us season 2, episode 4. Is this one that y'all are keeping up with and watching?
Okay, so I'm gonna preface this. So I played the game.
Okay.
But the last month of my life has been so busy that I have not been able to start season 2 yet.
Okay.
So because I played that, you can spoil whatever I do not.
Because you know exactly what's happening before I know what's happening. So I never played the game, but I do know of it, and I've really enjoyed the show. Like the first season and so far the season 2, like I love it, and a lot of game players are loving it because it's sticking so closely to the storyline.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I've never personally played the game. I've sat and watched him play the game.
He's less of a game player than a game watcher.
Yeah, I like credit. Okay. I like what are they called? The scenes.
He's like the 5-year-old that you give the fake controller to while you're really playing the game, and then I'm playing the game.
I like the cutscenes.
He's like you take the batteries out of his controller and hand it to him.
Yeah. Yes. We don't charge his.
And I did watch the first season. It didn't really get me captivated like I thought it would, though. Okay. Like I enjoy it and I'll watch it, but I'm not like itching to watch it.
Right.
So I haven't seen the second season yet either.
So I will say this, like I enjoy it. I will say I enjoy it. I will say it's not one of the. I'm a big zombie person. I love good zombie shows effects, but like to me, it still doesn't top The Walking Dead. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. Yeah, absolutely love The Walking Dead. It's definitely not
in its entirety though, or just the beginning of Walking Dead.
What are we
talking about? Because I feel like quality dropped after a bit.
I'm actually with you. Like I love Walking Dead.
Yeah, I think like after season like 412 of Walking Dead, I dropped off of it.
So unpopular opinion, people talk about the ebb and flow of Walking Dead. I've loved it start to finish. And I actually am still watching the spinoffs like Dead City.
I haven't started it yet, but I want to watch.
Then there's Those Who Survive, which we finally get Rick and Michonne back together, and then you have the Daryl Dixon series with him and Carol. Phenomenal. The Daryl Dixon series is
all of
amazing.
These people live through that series.
Well, some got added on after, and
I know, but those are like early characters. They lived that long.
Daryl and Carol is still alive. Yeah. Maggie is still alive. Negan is still alive.
Michonne's still alive.
Michonne and Rick, Which Rick has been
he's pretty badass for a while. See that, honestly.
Yeah, he hasn't been in it. He's alive, but he was just
because he was hiding. That's how he's alive. Other idiots are too communal.
That was the only thing I didn't like about Walking Dead was I didn't like the time jump. They did one season where there was like a 10-year time jump.
That's where they lost me. I remember that because I was watching it for the first time and he was rewatching. And then after the time jump, I fizzled.
Yeah.
You actually finished it.
Yeah, I did finish it. I still love it. I didn't care for that time jump. with The Last of Us, I like this idea for the zombies, like the, like spores and stuff, and I feel like it would make a really cool Poison Ivy live action thing.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, because the way you have the tentacles of the plant kind of come out, and I think the visuals of the zombies and the creativity that they bring to life is really, really good. I like, a lot of the characters. I don't know. I wish there was something about it that was written that dug a little deeper to my soul, that grabbed me. That I wish there was something that made me a little bit more emotionally invested into it. It don't quite grab deep into the emotional part of the characters like The Walking Dead did, to where like kind of like the MCU. Walking Dead in the MCU, you get so heavily invested in these characters and the evolution of the loss and the of these characters and what they go through, that they emotionally tie to you to where you feel for these characters. The Last of Us hasn't done that to me yet with the characters. And I think that's the only thing it's lacking. If they figure out a way to write it in to get that part in, then I think this would be a perfect zombie story.
Yeah, I do. I really liked the first season. The only thing I've heard about the second season so far is that one of the episodes was super good or something. But also that it feels tonally a little bit different. It's more like I'm trying not to give. I know I'm the spoiler person today, but it feels more of a cross-country road trip for fun than it does like a vengeance mission.
I
think tonally it might be where it's losing you, because that's the whole purpose of the second one is now here's Ellie's like redemption and here's her turn.
Right.
And I mean the video game, I do think the first one was slightly better. But I think that could make you not connect as much with the character, because if she's not showing the stakes and her mental investment in it and her trauma, I think that, the viewer wouldn't be able to relate to it then either.
Sure. Well, I think that, besides the bullshit Bella Ramsey controversy of her looks shouldn't be playing, her, I don't think that's got nothing to do with it, but there's something about her portrayal of the character that just doesn't make me, she don't bring it to me to make me emotionally invested in her. And I think she's a great actress, because like I loved her in Game of Thrones, but I just don't think she was the right choice to make you truly grasp on that emotional connection. Like you're kind of explaining that it needs. And I think that's part of it. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Listen,
we'll see how
they spent all their money on Pedro Pascal. Okay, they had to take some chances.
That that kind of goes along with what I was going to say. Like for season one, the part I loved the most was I forget their names, but the gay couple, that storyline. That was the best part for
Bill
me.
and Ted.
And what was that book?
Tommy?
What was that book we read about the two gay kids after an epidemic? And it's like a zombie apocalypse, but there's no zombies. It's just the world rebuilding.
It was like pretty much a COVID type thing.
Yeah. Well, he thinks of the name of that. This book was a lot like that episode.
Okay.
And I don't know, it was more captivating to me than the whole season of the first season. So yeah.
And I'm curious.
And I could be biased because I'm gay. So
but next on the list, so we have a Together trailer. Dave Franco and Allison Brie are going dark in their new Neon film, and Together drops this July. This trailer looks insane. Like literally, have you seen this trailer for this?
I haven't seen that trailer. I have not. But I'm intrigued.
When you
intrigued.
When you get off here, I promise you will not regret it. I'm talking about like a psychological thriller, like on the edge of your seat. I think that it's just got some weird, dark, twisted stuff in it, and I love a good horror film that lands. I hope this is a good one. It's got a great cast, but I'm talking about like it starts off in the trailer with them talking about like she's sitting with a therapist. And she's like, I feel like since ever we moved into this house, me and him became complacent. And the therapist is like, well, complacency can be harmony. And so like you see them start having issues. And I think it's got something to do with the house that they're in. But like one point they go to kiss and out of nowhere their skin starts fusing together. And and then there's one time it shows him in the shower. He's staying in the shower. And then she's driving, and every time she makes a turn, it slings his body into the wall of the shower. Like it looks insanely wild. And like there's one part where she's like,
interesting.
sitting on top of him in a chair, and I don't know what's going on because they don't like it's so much is happening. And she's like, "Here, drink this whiskey for the pain." And she grabs a sawzall, and it's looking like she's about to cut herself apart because somehow they're connected. Like it looks wild. Yeah, no, I'm ready to see this. But this looks so good. Then we also got Final Destination, Bloodlines, just set a world record by lighting a 71-year-old stunt woman on fire. Right here, we see this in the trailer. But
life goals, girl. Life goals.
Right? Can you imagine being her? Like that's a pretty sick goal to set. But yeah, this comes out May 16th. I'm excited to see another Final Destination movie. I them.
I am too, because I love those movies. I also, man, they made so many of them though. Like I really hope they captivate like what we got from the first one.
Right.
I'd say from the first two.
The
first two, it was very much, those were very connected, and then past that, it was like, oh yeah, this happened a long time ago.
I want to see some good deaths that stick with me for the rest of my life.
Same. I'm ready for some new fears to unlock. That's what I'm ready. I think in the first teaser, one's in a tattoo parlor. I'm like, oh man.
Yes, with the piercings and it gets caught with the fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get my next tattoo before I watch this movie.
Yeah, I still don't have my sleeve finished up yet, so I may get my sleeve finished up before I watch this.
I want to rush that a bit.
I'm just a little. I'm back and forth on with it being connected to like other people that survived. Like I don't know. I don't want it to get muddy. I hope it's a very clean cut
I'm okay
story.
if it's not. I'm okay if it's a complete stand. I'm sure they're going to connect it. I feel like they're going to somehow. But
that's why it's called Bloodlines.
Right. But I'm okay if this ended up just being a standalone. It wouldn't even hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Just give me some great scenes.
That's why I'm like back and forth on it, because I'm like, it's fun that it's connected to the original, but like,
are we watching it for the story?
Yeah, I kind of want it to be a standalone too. Yeah, so I get that. It's kind of like the I Know What You Did Last Summer remake that they're doing. It's not. I always thought it was a remake when I heard about it, but it's a continuance.
Well, the thing that you want from a Final Destination, you want interesting and memorable deaths, and you want the mystery of who dies and who doesn't.
Yeah,
and no matter what, you'll get that.
Right. Yeah. We never really put ourselves in seats to really, because it's amazing writing or anything like that, or amazing acting.
What do you mean? Horror movies always have excellent writing.
That's right. There's a reason why a B score for a horror movie is great.
Right. As we all know, Jackie Chan is back in the Karate Kid Legends movie, and we get a new promotional clip, which is pretty hilarious. We see Jackie Chan like filming, one of the actors doing a whole bunch of stunts and stuff, and then it tells you it's
such
like
a dance mom.
Wait till the end to see the full video edit. And you get to the video edit and you see it's Jackie Chan accidentally having the camera flip the wrong way, filming himself, and you get his facial expressions. I think this is a fun promo, especially playing with Jackie Chan's age.
Definitely.
I'm not a big Cobra Kai guy. I love the OG Karate Kid movies. They're kind of a nostalgic thing for me. Cobra Kai, I didn't even bother watching past the first season because I just couldn't get into it. But I'm here to watch this.
I never watched any Cobra Kai.
It's just I can't. A lot of people love it. It's kind of an unpopular opinion, but it's just not for me. But I will watch this just because it kind of blends in. Some of the OG, some of the new, and get Mr. Miyagi, mentioned and stuff. So. But next on the list, we get Toxic Avengers oozing back into pop culture. Check out Peter Dinklage as his first picture as Toxie we get. And this is supposed to be one of those movies, it's supposed to be B-rated, right? It's supposed to be not well written. It's very has a very cult following. And we've actually had Spencer Wilding on here, and he's actually going to be in this movie. He actually, when we had him on, we talked to him about it, and he's like, I don't know if this will ever see the light of day, because this was filmed and done in 2023, right? And it played at a film festival, and people loved it. But they're like, we don't know if we'll ever do a theatrical release of this. And it was just announced, I think, 2 months ago. They're going to release this in August, finally, in theaters. So this would be interesting take to see this.
Yes.
But I'll watch it.
We got a How to Train Your Dragon IMAX trailer released, and I'm so here for this. Like
I know,
this,
same.
oh my god! Like I love the cartoons. Like, and I wasn't even young when they
Mhm.
came out. Like I enjoyed the cartoons, but the visuals of this looks so freaking good.
I know it does. And what do you think of the design for Toothless?
It works. Like I don't
I know it,
I don't want something that's completely so far from the animated. I think they did a good blend
yeah,
of giving you real life, but keeping that nostalgic animated feel that we loved and we grew to love on the looks of the dragons. So I love that you
yes.
get the real people, but then like the dragons are almost pulled from the animated and
I
put on the
know.
screen. So like
Yeah.
it's here. I like it. And I
I
love how
think
like in this new trailer you get to see him like fall off and he loses his booty
Mhm.
and falls off. It misses his tail and they spiraling down. Like that trailer put me on the edge of my seat. Like oh my god. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that and Lilo and Stitch, I am so and cannot wait.
Yes.
I'm so pumped.
What
I
were you gonna
mean,
say you
I
think?
I think when you I was just gonna say with the CGI of stuff like that, you have to be careful not to make it too realistic because that's one of the
Right.
things I hated about, like, for instance, the first Lion King live action movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's their personalities are super animated, but when you do the hyper realism in an animal face, you really can't show that emotion. And for a character like
Right.
Toothless, who's very stitch coated, you have to be able to show that personality. And
Yeah.
Right.
so, I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like it.
especially
Does
with
it look
Toothless.
exactly like what he probably would look like? No, but
Right.
that's what it needs to look like
Mhm.
for
Right.
you to get his characterization.
100% because like I mean, if you made it too realistic, like you couldn't have the eye expressions because like Toothless doesn't talk, so a
Yeah.
lot of his expressions are with those eyes, and you need those big green eyes in the way they look. You need that. So
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think this. Well, it goes to show they've already announced a sequel before it's hit screen, and so it goes to show you how confident they are in knowing that they pulled off a badass movie. So
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Marvel needs to take notes because if you show that you are confident in something, then
right,
people will buy in.
Yeah.
And
that's
we're
true.
already bought into this movie. We're like, you know what? You're bought
Right.
in. I'm bought in. Let's go see this thing.
So I don't know if y'all have seen the first two, but Orphan 3 is actually in the early stages of development.
I've
I've seen
seen
the
both of them. This movie, the first
okay.
one was like my favorite scary movie as a kid.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and I don't know why because I don't know. I latch on to such weird things, but that's super exciting for me. I'm down. I want to get back in that world.
So I actually enjoyed the first one. I seen it when it came out, but I have not seen the second. So I want to make sure I see the second before this comes out. I love horror or anything. I just my big thing is I hate how many horror movies like almost pull through, then there's something that screws it up to where they don't. So I'm always actively trying to see horror movies, hoping like I finally get one that lands. But I liked the first Orphan. I thought it was really good.
I will say expectation management because the second one is very much a streaming movie.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not going to be as good as the first one, but
Right.
it still services the first one, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
that makes
go
sense.
into it knowing this is a streaming movie. This is not a theatrical movie. Have some popcorn and don't be sober.
Fair enough. Gotcha. So Ella Purnell is in a new serial killer comedy called Hot Ted. Uh, these three stars are actually all going to be in it. And it says teen comedy will follow the story of a true crime podcast fanatic named Zoe who spends a summer attending camp against her will. One day, things get considerably more exciting when one of the camp counselors doesn't show up to work, and Zoe starts to suspect something is up. Interesting. I'm here for it. I love Ella Purnell. Says this movie be directed by Hannah Levy, SNL director for 61 episodes, and written by Grace McLeod. So uh, I'm
It
here
kind
for
of
it.
sounds like only murders in the building, but at camp.
That's
Yeah.
the
I
first
think
thing
that's
that
the
went in my
pitch for
mind.
that one.
Yeah, I actually enjoy Only Murders in the Building too. I have not
Yeah.
watched it all yet, but I have watched the first season. I was late into watching that as well, but I really enjoyed it. But it does
It's definitely
give
one of those shows. You get to it when you get to it. But
right,
Yeah,
right.
I love all these actors. I do feel like we've been here, done that before because of
Mm.
Murders in the Building. I'd almost like
but
to
you also
see.
haven't seen it, so this is still fresh to you.
It's true. Um, I would. I think I would rather see a campy show like this from a killer's perspective.
That
I think
okay.
that'd be fun.
Calling it right now. It's Ariana Greenblatt. She's the murderer. Sketchy.
Makes sense. We'll see. We'll find out. I think this is one I'll probably give a chance when it comes out and see. So we shall find out. See, next on the list, we got Amy Poehler and Mike Schur team up for a comedy dig site in Greece, and it's not what you think. So Dig, a Peacock comedy series, is bringing back Amy Poehler and Michael Schur from Parks and Rec. Poehler and Schur are co-writing the first episode, with Poehler also set to star. 4 women working at an archaeological dig in Greece are at a wildly different crossroads in their lives when the team uncovers a long-buried secret with the potential to rewrite history. They find themselves at the center of a high-stakes international conspiracy. So this is it's a different take. I mean, at least it don't sound like something mimic and cookie cutter from something we've already kind of
seen before. It sounds original.
I mean, I'm excited for Amy Poehler. I feel like her and Tina Fey were like even there for a bit, and then Tina Fey was just like, you know what, I'm gonna steal the thunder. So to see Amy Poehler come back in any way is exciting to me. It sounds weird, and so I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Who knows? This could go either way. Let's find out.
Peacock's put out some decent stuff too, so we'll see. We'll see. Just kind of hosts that because I'm trying to think.
What I watched Poker Face on?
Poker Face. That's literally what I was about to say.
So
Poker
good.
Face, I was late into coming to that, and when I finally watched it, I was bored one day. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. Got addicted. Like I binged it. I lost sleep watching it. I enjoyed it. I'm ready for season 2.
Same. I love Natasha Lyonne with a strong passion. And I never started it. I didn't have time when it came out. And so I watched it I want to say 2 months ago. And within 24 or 48 hours, the whole series or the whole season was done.
And I love that Natasha Lyonne's now to you too. And she's supposed to be in Fantastic Four First Steps.
Don't get me started.
We are so worried that she's Herbie.
I am so worried that she is
she's not.
Herbie.
No. So they just announced this past week the guy that's playing the voice of Herbie is the guy that voiced the battle droids from Star Wars.
Oh,
okay.
Awesome.
That makes me feel better then. Because I'm like, I feel like if Natasha Lyonne is in this movie, we would have seen her in the trailer by now.
Yeah. No, I can't think of the guy's name.
Freaking Lyonne.
I want to say maybe Matt Woods. Matt Woods or something like that. I could be wrong with the name, but the guy that did the battle droids voices from Star Wars is who's voicing Herbie. So it's still nobody knows what character she's playing.
I like the sound of Herbie in the trailer. I just didn't want it to be Natasha Lyonne.
Right. Next on the list, we got Disney's building a theme park in the Middle East for the first time. It's opening its first theme park at Abu Dhabi, and this is the first theme park that Disney has opened since 2016. So Disney
the world
constantly finding ways to keep making that bank.
Yeah.
A movie I am excited about though is Mark Hamill stars in Stephen King's The Long Walk, and this trailer looks intense. Have you seen the trailer for this?
I have not.
Okay, y'all have to watch this. This just dropped this past week. So literally, it's showing him leading this group of random people walking this asphalt, right? And they're making the people walk. And there's this teenager. He's like, I can't go no more. My legs are locking up. And if you lock up and can't walk no more, they pull out a gun in the trailer and kill you. That's the thing. And I think these people signed up to do this, as to win something. But the thing you sign up is if you drop, you die. Huh. Yeah. And Mark Hamill being a crazy, person that he can be and characters he can play, he's the one that's kind of leading this, I think, leading this group and calling the shots on, I don't know, it looks wild.
So kind of like a Squid Game situation
ish. Yeah, except I think it's just walk and you can't drop. That's the thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would lose, so I can't play the
game.
I don't know the book. I've never read the book, so I don't know the the original story, but the trailer is definitely intriguing. I'll give it that to say at least.
Let's check that out.
But I've been so busy the last 2 weeks. I feel like based on all of the stuff that we've gone over, I feel like I've missed out on so much.
Andre 3000 drops a surprise piano EP. Have y'all listened to this?
I have not.
Yeah, so everybody's confused and not sure what's going on. They're we haven't heard anything from him in a while. I don't know. I mean, it's strictly him playing piano, no words, no nothing. Drops it on YouTube, and then at the Met Gala, he showed up actually like this, wearing a piano on his back. And so
awesome.
You got so many
Something's
questions going on. Yeah, people are like, is he leading up to something? Has he, just being super creative out of the box like he's always been, his whole music career? Or is he losing his mind? And nobody knows what's going on
Yes
right
to
now.
all three, maybe.
Right. Also, this past week, Monty Python and the Holy Grail turns 50, and it was back in theaters just for, I think, 2 different days. So for any of you Monty Python fans, hopefully you didn't miss
That
out on
came
that.
out when you were what, 10, 15?
So funny.
Speaking of Lilo and Stitch, there's more promos. And I think there was a new trailer. Dogs Can't Talk dropped. And I'm so ready for this. This comes out May 23rd. Tell us about it. I actually did not get around to watching this yet. So if you don't mind kind of
all right, gotta refocus. But it seems to kind of all take place in that back room now. It's not up at the front anymore. And also the adoption lady is a little bit older and a little bit more culturally appropriate. But no, it is funny seeing all the different dogs, and you get to see him with his little antennas go back in. And,
I mean, I think
she's like, he can talk and rough.
Yeah. I think that for the most part, I think it's going to stay true to the cartoon. I think that the most changes they're going to see is we're going to see the exact same scenes play out. They're just going to be in like maybe a different location or flow more with the story. Because there's like one scene where he's attacking the city that he built thing, and it's a sandcastle instead of like books and stuff in her bedroom. So I think it's going to stay pretty true to it, and I am here for it. I think it's
the
I will say almost everything that I've seen is very exciting. The only thing I am a little bit stressing about is the handling of Jumba and Pleakley. That's what I need to see the movie to see how I feel about how they're handled. Everything else looks phenomenal, but I'm a little nervous.
Yeah,
because of the
visually it looks good.
I don't like their hologram things, and I feel like
I'm
afraid that it's going to change the characters too much just based on we've only seen a little bit, so I'm trying not to judge it. But
I think a good way to fix, because I like the holograms. I think it makes sense. Alien tech, of course, they have hologram technology. I think since they're not doing the drag part of it with Pleakley dressing up in women's clothing and the wig and things, I think to offset that, it would have been good if they were playing a gay couple on honeymoon in Hawaii or something to kind of help.
I don't think Disney will do that right now.
I mean, I don't either, but I think that would have helped pad that one complaint that we have for the movie.
Is one thing that I am scared of, is that they got too scared with current events. But also, that's a big part of their character. Like, it's the joke. It's they're trying to throw on a wig. They're trying to blend in, and I'm worried that without it, we're not going to find them as endearing or funny. So I don't know. Like I said, trying to keep an open mind. I don't see the choices that are being made. I don't see it playing out how they want it.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of their laughter is of their scenes trying to blend in and play like they were. So we'll see. Hopefully, they don't mess it up.
But I'm excited for it. I mean, Stitch is perfect.
Yeah,
I will say that.
I actually like the little girl that plays Lilo is pretty well cast too.
Yeah. In the older
it took me a second.
And the older sister
what's going to be? I think we're going to have that same moment of like, oh crap, she is only like 5. Because you lose that with animation sometimes, kind of like we did with Ahsoka when they did the flashbacks with her younger. We're like, oh crap, she was just a little kid during this war. I think that we'll have some scenes like they have to have the pickle jar scene with Lilo of my friends need to be punished and like shaking the little voodoo dolls and stuff.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hilarious to see a 5-year-old doing that.
I was that 5-year-old, but whatever, it's fine.
This is one of my favorite Disney animations, so I'm just really hoping it hits and lands. And so far, majority of it seems on par. Like it's definitely not.
I mean, this is
no white vibes. So
yeah, definitely. I'm so excited for this. It's my favorite Disney movie. I have Stitch tattooed on my foot.
Oh, nice,
Like,
nice. You dedicated then.
yeah.
So Fallout Season 2 finally wraps. This one I've been waiting for, and I feel like there's been such a large gap.
Season 1.
Oh, so good. And I'm not even a game player of Fallout, like, but
I
I
know I've
absolutely
never
was
seen
addicted to
the
the
game or
season
anything.
1. But we
Yeah,
have a couple of
I am a gamer, but I have never played Fallout until
really?
after Season 1. Then I got Fallout 4. But no, and Ella Purnell is fantastic.
Dude,
Like,
almost the whole cast I've enjoyed.
All stars aligned for that show.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'm a huge fan of Walton
I'm
Goggins.
really scared because I'm like, is it lightning in a bottle? Like,
I think Macaulay Culkin's going to be a fun addition too.
Yes. Here's a couple of their social media posts they made, just kind of announcing that they've wrapped filming. So I couldn't imagine wearing all that prosthetic all the time. Walton Goggins. That's
your next cosplay. There you go.
So I've actually announced that is going to be one of my cosplays is that, but I need to get a bigger new face mold made because that's one that really needs to fit perfectly for it to even pull off and look right. But last on the list, Squid Game Season 3 trailer dropped, and so unpopular from like most of society, I have actually not watched Squid Game's all of Season 1 yet. So
me neither. I've never.
Okay, great. I finally don't feel left out. So like I have
so for this one, we'll just say cool.
Yeah. So my thing is like I have a big issue with the words not lining up and it being subtitle whatever. Like I don't mind. I have an issue with that. I don't know why it bothers me. So it really distracts me from getting into the story. I've not made it through Season 1 yet. I'm trying to push through it, but I just can't get into it because of the dubbing. It's so hard for me.
Yeah. Well, and my thing is, I really like subtitles, but I'm always multitasking when we're watching like a show because it's so long. Like I have my PlayStation Portal or my Nintendo Switch. Like or doing work or I don't know. I'm usually not doing work. Let's be real. But it's just so hard because you have to have your eyes glued to that screen. And then I don't know, the dub. I don't think it really sold it for me.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's not just Squid Game. Like it's anything dubbed like that. Like there's so many movies on like Netflix and stuff that I'm like, oh, this looks so cool. This looks interesting. And then I go to click on the trailer and it's a dub trailer, and I'm like, never mind.
There's a couple on Netflix. I like read the description like you're saying, and even the visuals. I'm like, okay, and then I watch it, and I get like 15 minutes in, I turn it off. It's so distracting for me. It's probably why I can't watch old Godzilla movies. but that kind of wraps us up on all the talking topics. So y'all kind of want to self-promote some Bleeding Rainbows comics and anything you got going on?
Well, my name is LJ, and this is Win from Bleeding Rainbow Comics, if you did not know by this far into the video. So we do have our own YouTube channel. You can just search Bleeding Rainbow Comics. We're the only people with that name that I know of. We also write and produce our own comic books, and that's another reason why we haven't been putting out as much lately, because we are like full gung-ho into a new series.
Which we're really excited about.
We are. I'm way more excited about this one. Not that I wasn't in the first one, but this one, like, we are both really aligned and passionate about, and it's just I really like how it looks, and the story is fun.
We're seasoned with this one. Spectrum was our first book. It was our baby, and we recognized the mistakes that we made during that, and it's still a great read. You can get it on Amazon, but this new thing we're working on, story,
I feel like we're more confident in it. Like for Spectrum, it was very much a learning experience, and like I love that book. But this one, we've had a little bit more time because we've been concepting this one pretty much since we started Spectrum itself, and so we have a lot more. Like I will say, a lot more flooring underneath of it, and it's just we're super excited. I also just really like the art.
Yeah, I can't wait to announce it. This is the most we can talk about it. I can't even give away the name, but it's coming and it's amazing.
I'm excited, and we won't just put the social tags in the description for anybody who wants to look them up, but we'll also put the Amazon link in there for buying Spectrum too. So don't miss out on that.
Find us on Amazon, YouTube. The best way to stay up to date with us is our Facebook page. That gets updated more frequently than anything else.
And you can contact us there if you want a hard copy as well.
Yeah, or just say, hi, you were annoying in that video that one time. And I'll say, I know, thank you.
Well, thank you all again for being on here and filling in for our host spot this week. It's always a pleasure. I missed the Coven chat. Like we need to do some more collaborations together in the future. Coven chat was so fun.
Back.
I think they will. I think they will. So Coven chat is not dead. Like it will happen again. I feel it. I feel it.
My Coven lives on.
And like whichever one comes first, I feel like, whether it's the second season of that, or if we go on the quest for Tommy and Vision Quest production, whichever one, I think y'all need to rehash that and bring it back to life, whichever route it goes.
I was about to say, you best bet that as soon as Wiccan and or Agatha are anywhere in the picture, my Coven will reassemble. Like, even just to talk our hopes and dreams of what we hope is happening.
Yeah, I miss Coven chat. It was great.
I do too. It was so fun. So fun. It's something I definitely look forward to every week. And that's kind of like how we got introduced, was through Megan. And so it was fun. But until next time, catch everybody later.
Bye.